They were rioting over him being foreign.
But he's not foreign. He's born in the UK. You keep saying foreign, but he was born in the UK.
Just so you guys know what.
But the point is, he would never have been here if mass immigration, if immigration didn't happen.
You don't even know how his family got here, though. You don't know what they immigrated under. What if they immigrated under a perfectly legal thing? What if it was like an asylum refugee situation? You have no idea.
Yeah, people don't want immigration, and that's why. And they're saying.
Wait. Then at least specify that. Then at least specify that. Don't say you're opposed to mass immigration. Just say you're opposed to immigration. Period. You don't want any immigrants.
Oh, it's only going to be violence. Like, that's the only way that I can change anything. I totally think they're wrong, but that's the mindset that they've been that they're in now, because you've had 20 plus years, as you said, people constantly voting for migration. Even Blair in 1997, promised to, lower immigration, or certainly wasn't, in favor of opening the doors, as he then eventually did past then. So it is the result. These riots would not have existed if the government had just reduced immigration, cracked down on crime, stopped the grooming gangs that were, in this country for, again, over 20 years. So this is all the fault of the government, for sure. And, making sure that the people think that they've got no hope. I can't remember who someone said it was the riots, the voice of the unheard, or something along those lines. I think that's pretty accurate to what we're seeing right now on the streets.
I think we have just had Destiny join the call. I need to fool around and adjust the video here, and I'm straight booming because it's been a while since I've used OBS. But feel free to say hello, Destiny, and introduce yourself.
Wow, hi, what's up? I'm a YouTuber that does politics sometimes.
Yeah. Everybody has no idea who you are. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry. Actually, just give me... you guys chat. Say hello. I need a moment to figure this out.
Hello. Too many tech booming.
Do we go over the part yet where the starting of these riots was on a fake news event that spread on X yet, or have we not?
No, that's not why the riots started. We discussed this at the top of the hour. That's completely untrue.
Really?
He wasn't here for that.
Wait, what part of that was untrue?
That the riots were started off by a fake news event on X.
When did the riots start?
So you were actually you were in Southport where it began, right?
I was in Southport exactly when this happened.
So could you answer me this question? Because I saw something about this, don't know if it's true. The guy turned up with a machete and the police managed to arrest him. And presumably he was there to attack the people who were more...
No, so he was arrested with a switchblade, and he was either a white or mixed race guy, but he was on the side of the, on the side of the protesters. Now, I don't believe he was, people said, he was going to attack the vigil. Again, nothing of that side happened. But yeah, he was posting about how awful the Southport attack was on his Instagram on Tuesday. So no, there was no planned machete attack or anything.
Okie dokie. So he's a man arrested with a switch knife because we can't have switch knives in this country.
So wait, okay. Wait. So tell me what part of this I have incorrect. So stabbing happens. Name of the perpetrator can't be released, right? Because of the judge, yeah. And then on X, there's a whole bunch of information posted with a fake name that says he's Muslim.
Yep.
There was a vigil that was held, and then a huge protest happens afterwards outside of a mosque, which is for Muslims.
Right.
You're telling me that these are totally unconnected?
So basically you got the timeline wrong. So, well, not the entire timeline wrong, but there are a few sort of details in there which were pretty key. So his name wasn't released until Thursday or Friday. However, by Tuesday morning, now bear in mind the protest riot happened at 8 p.m. So we've got at least between 8 to 12 hours of this coming out. It was identified that this was fake news. He wasn't Ali something Ali. That he was the son of he was a son of two Rwandan immigrants. So he was a second generation immigrant born in Cardiff. So by that afternoon, and certainly everybody that I spoke to at the vigil, people were talking.
Did the first riot happen before this was known?
No, it happened afterwards.
Okay, so after this was made public knowledge, that is the correction. That is when the first violence occurred. That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
Why did they decide to do the protest outside of a mosque?
The mosque was just the protest wasn't outside the mosque. The protest was near exactly where it happened. The mosque was just on the same street.
You don't think they weren't protesting right outside the Southport Mosque?
No, the protest moved towards it. As I said, I was there. I saw bricks getting thrown at the mosque. But as we were discussing earlier on the show, the protests and the riots happened, and it was then directed to something more than just this stabbing, which is why they didn't, for example,
wait. We're
find
focusing
a
on one thing.
Rwandan community center.
Well, because they didn't. I don't think they knew initially. When was the information released about who the person was officially?
So in terms of his surname, that was released. His actual full name was Thursday or Friday, but the attack happened on Monday, and I certainly knew.
Wait. If his full name was released Thursday or Friday, and you knew midday,
but he was identified as being a son of Rwandan immigrants.
When?
By Tuesday morning.
I even did an initial report about this. Same thing. Said it was Rwandan immigrants. I saw Callum. I saw Connor Tomlinson. Everyone on my feed was making it very clear and making posts about
this. Was well
clear. Link me the earliest.
This.
Well, you're confused because you haven't read anything outside of your media sphere, because literally every single person saw this news explode outside. Yeah.
Steven, your claim is that it's my media sphere that spread a lie that caused these riots, and I'm saying within my media sphere, what I'm following, that was not the impression of people.
And people have already apologized.
But the protest literally happened
by Tuesday.
It doesn't matter. You guys know that better than anyone else. That a retraction on Tuesday, it doesn't matter if fake news was spread on Monday. The protest happened outside of a mosque, and you're telling me that had nothing to do with the fact that on X initially everybody thought that the perpetrator was Muslim, that it was just a coincidence?
This isn't just an issue.
Don't do the just thing. I know that you want to blow it up about all of immigration, because when it's nice and hazy, there's no actual facts.
Of course it's all connected.
But there was an inciting.
It is delusional to pretend it's not.
There was an inciting moment for this riot.
Yes.
That inciting moment was people thinking that the perpetrator was a Muslim.
No.
Do you agree with that or not? So does everyone here disagree with that?
Oh, hi, Pisco. Pisco,
hey, Lauren, how are you?
Yourself so people know who you are.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I can't be on video, but I have to do it through my phone. But really appreciate being on. I'm a lawyer from America, so happy to discuss these issues. And I know some stuff about immigration in America, so I'm sure the issues in UK are very different. But I try to stay apprised of what's going on there and follow the politics at least somewhat closely. But yeah, thanks for having me on. But my question is, does everyone here agree or disagree with what Steven just said, which was the inciting incident of these riots based on a lie related to a Muslim immigrant or not?
Well, I trust the guy who was there.
Yeah, I trust the guy who was there. And also what I saw.
Wait. When you say you trust the guy in there, you understand he has every incentive to lie about it, right? What do you mean? Why would you say you trust the guy? Do you trust all the BLM rioters that were there? That's not even a real statement.
I was there to cover
Jack isn't just trusting the guy who's there. I've been friends with him for over 10 years, so yeah.
All right, he's a good guy. But
wait. So hold on, just curious, because I don't know his Twitter. If I were to bring up his Twitter account and I were to look, is it going to be filled with wall-to-wall, far-right anti-immigration stuff, or is it just going to be a neutral observer journalist that covers a bunch of different things? Just curious.
Jack literally.
Okay, then there you go. So nothing he says. I'm not going to take him at face value because he was there.
You can see the videos that I saw, and again, I was also there, and also they literally attacked me for being a journalist afterwards.
Who is they?
Okay, Jack,
so
he actually
what was the inciting incident?
Incentive
what was
to
it?
not be impressed with these people.
Yeah.
Well, what was the
I was
inciting
literally
incident if it wasn't
assaulted
this?
at the riot by them for being a journalist. So if anything, I have an incentive to make them look as bad as possible.
Jack, what was the inciting incident if it wasn't this lie?
Because he was a second generation immigrant, and so therefore it's connected to if it wasn't for mass immigration, he wasn't here.
But in this entire event, this series of events, would you agree or would you not agree that it was based on a lie?
No, I don't know. We have all said we don't agree that that's the case. If you look at the protests,
what else would have started it if not this?
So this was one.
The Telegraph report he was a Rwandan immigrant.
Didn't the first protest happen on July 30th?
No. Wait, yes.
Yes, it did.
Lots of the time, but that was when this came out. So let me just get the date. So yeah, it was the 29th of July when it actually happened, the attack. Then it was the July 30th, which is the next day at 8 p.m. when the protest happened. But by then, as Callum rightly pointed out, the Telegraph reported that he was a son of Rwandan immigrants.
So the anti-Muslim sentiment generated by the fake news story, in your opinion, had nothing to do with the protests?
No, it has to do with the terrorism and grooming gangs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. But those accusations... Hang on. The grooming gangs accusations also relate to Muslim sentiment, correct? Whether rightly or wrongly, wouldn't you agree that the grooming gangs epidemic that you're pointing to relates to Muslim immigrants primarily? That's the accusation, right?
Yeah, so the event is
Yes.
because the
Yes. Is that yes?
What?
But nothing to do with fake news.
So
No,
the
but
event
does
is
it
about
relate
a
to
son of
anti-Muslim
immigrants.
attitudes?
I'm going to talk. So the event is because he's a son of immigrants. Muslims are also immigrants to the UK. They have engaged in horrific acts. These are why these two are connected in these people's eyes, because they're both immigrant groups. So yes, they are against Muslims, but that's because they're foreigners, and the killer was a foreigner, and there's a lot of problems with foreigners in the UK. That's how this played out.
As I said, the protests said the inciting incident for the protests was the stabbing on Southport. But the protests pretty immediately became, and then as they spread across the country, became a wider anti-immigration protest, which is why they attacked a mosque on Tuesday, which is why they attacked a corner shop on Tuesday. This is why they've gone after asylum hotels. They've attacked police stations, because this has become part of a wider anti-immigration protest, and they've gone for all of the things which they see as being part of that wider problem.
Yeah.
I don't understand how, if you have a problem with like Muslim grooming gangs, why is it that a Christian second generation immigrant stabbing somebody would cause people to riot outside of a mosque? Could you connect that for me?
Because it's all connected. It's all correlated. You have mass immigration occurring, or you have mass Islamization of the UK occurring as a result of mass immigration as well. So protesting outside of mosque is linked to a protest against mass immigration, obviously.
And Muslims.
Yes, of course. You didn't have a ton of Muslims in the UK pre-mass immigration.
No.
Okay, wait, but you understand that if you had no Muslims in the UK, this same event would have still happened.
Well, yeah, but then they would have targeted something else that was a symbol of foreignness. It just happens to be that Pakistanis
you don't believe that.
Yeah.
This isn't true. That's not true either. Because if you had no Muslims in the UK, you probably had stricter immigration policy,
also
much stricter over the years, which probably would have resulted in this family not even being there.
Well, aren't these people like literally refugees from like the Rwandan genocide or some bullshit?
Listen,
well, he's killing kids, so he doesn't sound like a refugee.
Everyone claims refugee status right now.
Hold on, wait. Was the Rwandan genocide? That wasn't a legitimate thing to claim refugee status from? They're just economic migrants?
I'm saying that when we talk about whether or not every refugee should be in the country.
We're not talking about it. I asked a very specific question. We don't have to broaden it. It's just a very specific question.
I will also say, I don't know about these people specifically, but I do remember that some of the people who are responsible for implementing the Rwandan genocide, I believe, came to Britain after 1994. I may be wrong on that. Somebody can fact check me, but I do believe that happened.
Can somebody link real quick?
I'm not saying that about this family specifically.
Sure. Can somebody link real quick? When was the first time on Telegram or whatever the name of the real name was published? Can somebody link that in this Discord group?
Wait, where did you get the information that their family were refugees?
I read it on. I don't know if it was actually turned out. That's why I was asking.
I can't find it anywhere.
Okay. I was under the impression that he came from Rwanda. I haven't done a ton of digging in this story, so that's why I'm asking for links.
That doesn't mean he's a refugee.
No, he's second generation, so he wouldn't be a refugee.
Well, doesn't mean his parents were refugees.
It doesn't necessarily mean it. That's why I asked.
Just send it over here if it is, because I can't find it. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I can't find anything on it.
We don't know if he's a Hutu or a Tutsi.
Exactly.
We do know one thing, right, folks?
But then also real quick, just somebody. I don't know if it's Sour or Lauren or somebody. Can somebody link the first time at Telegram? I want to see a post on July 30th at Telegram saying that that the guy is not like a Muslim person.
Sorry, the Telegraph.
Or Telegraph.
The Daily Telegraph.
Another good
on
point.
July 30th.
Another good point from the chat is if they were refugees from the Rwandan genocide, they should have gone home 20 years ago.
Don't you resettle?
Asylum status, at least in the United States, and I'm sure because the United States has adopted a lot of these foreign treaties, which provide for these procedures in many different countries. It's a pathway to citizenship. Asylum status is you get a green card in the United States, and so just because you're. But hang on, at least in the United States, the United States is very.
When we had a bunch of El Salvadorians come because of an earthquake, later on they had to get an
Can you turn up your mic, Sean? You're very quiet.
In the United States, asylum is a pathway to a green card. That's a fact.
Not all the time.
It's a fact, my friend. It's a fact. Asylum status can get you an adjustment of status, which will give you a green card and give you a pathway to citizenship. Asylum is for persecution, and that will give you a pathway to citizenship in most cases. some people are ineligible to apply for citizenship for other reasons, but that's just is the case. And so you saying, well, all asylees or all refugees should go back home, that defeats the purpose of a lot of asylum laws, at least in the United States.
I mean, asylum is different from refugee status, but like
the definition of refugee is at least in America, is consistent, and actually the asylum processes map on to the processes, or at least the definition of refugee for purpose of their procedures. One thing I want all of us to agree on, though, regardless of your stance on immigration, is the riots should be condemned. Is that fair? Everyone should condemn the violence that's going on right now in the UK. Can I get everyone on the record condemning the violence?
yeah, you shouldn't be burning stuff. Everybody like knows that.
Awesome. Lauren, do you agree?
Yeah, don't burn stuff. But I'm not against protesting. I'm certainly not against the people protesting.
But you're against them using violence and the people who are deploying violence. It's illegitimate, right?
I am against violence, yes, but like
All right.
this is just like a whoosh, do the rounds, do the disavowals. This isn't actually addressing any sort of real issue.
Well, no, I'm glad that you disavowed it, Lauren and AJW. And Callum, you would also disavow this, and Sour Evil Boy, you would also disavow the violence and condemn
Well,
it.
legally, as British people, we can't support it.
I'm just asking, would you condemn it?
That means no.
Will you right now condemn the violence? Yes or no?
Oh my
Callum?
gosh.
Yeah,
yes
but
or
what's
no?
the point in asking? I legally can't say if I did
No.
support it.
I'm just
I would go
asking
to
if you
jail.
will, yes, affirmatively condemn it.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
if I
telling you-
did,
Yes.
what's the
Okay,
point in
awesome.
asking? I would go to jail.
Well, you could just say no answer.
You know, it's
right?
like when I had that chat about the Trump stuff with Destiny, his whole audience were so upset. They're like, oh, by asking these questions of whether he supports the attempted assassination or not, Lauren's trying to get him banned off social media. By pushing Callum on this, you could literally be trying to put him in jail. That's what he's saying.
Only if his answer, he doesn't have to give an answer. He could say, I'm not going to answer that question, or that's a stupid question, or, who are you to ask me that kind of thing. There are a lot of ways that he could say, but
Even if
beyond
he
just
disagreed,
encouraging
he
it.
literally couldn't. So he's saying it's a pointless
He
question. Because
couldn't
even
dodge
if
it?
he
He couldn't
If
dodge
you had
the
a
question.
person on who supported the riots, you can't just sit and dodge the question because, again, they're looking for people to put in jail right now, and we don't have free speech rights.
Okay. I mean, I think it would be something like,
So even
I don't
if
know,
he had
quite
a
simple to
nuanced
dodge.
answer
and
on
just
it,
be like,
no, because maybe he has a nuanced answer on it, which is very possible, where it's like, I condemn this or that, but I support this or that, and that could face jail time, and that's insane. Do you
He
condemn
couldn't
that
say,
he could
I
face
can't
jail
answer
time?
that question right now. He couldn't say that.
He's literally saying that.
Well, I heard him
we
say,
don't-
yes, I condemn it.
Look,
we don't.
can all
Let's say there's an
agree that
aspect
when
I like,
Yeah.
or I did like the whole
Riot,
thing.
it's horrible and bad, and when minorities or whatever, then it's the voice of the unheard. We all agree with that.
Hang on, no one
course.
said that we supported riots. I think you have on this call, Stephen, who
Yeah, I think that's called
disavowed it
projection. That's called projection. What he just did.
and
It's okay.
got banned for saying that he was totally against the violence that was going on. I certainly was against the violence. So was Joe Biden, who I support. And so I don't
Yeah,
know
I
who
mean,
you're
like-
talking about.
Self-taught.
I will sort of say there have been a number of people who are on the left, certainly including like The Guardian, and there's been other commentators, Paul Mason, Ian Fitzgerald. I'll have to get these people's names up specifically, but you can see how they reacted in 2011 to the London riots, which was caused because there was a gangland member who was shot by the police. And that started riots all across the country. Yeah, these people in 2011 at the time were saying, again, riot to the language of the unheard. This is, actually we need to defend the rioters. They started doing films about, how we need to
they were
reassess how
stupid.
the rioters look. Yeah, but I'm saying, obviously now, now we know that you're not saying this, but certainly a number of people on the British left right now who are saying that we need to send the army in have had the complete opposite opinion when it comes to left-wing violence.
I think that's fair. I mean, I'm not going to deny it. In America, there have been a lot of people who I think have had an about face on this, and depending on who the person is perpetrating it, I agree there's hypocrisy, but I don't think we should be victims of that hypocrisy. And I think we should stand up and, if there are people causing disorder and riots, I think that what Starmer said was, who can have a problem with it? I mean, you guys pointed to, I thought I saw you guys do the comparison shots between the BLM protests and his response to that versus the riots that are going on now. But can't you see a difference in supporting peaceful protests versus violent riots? And do you think that Starmer actually would equivocate between those two?
I don't understand what the point of this is.
The point of what? Of these questions? It's to make sure that we're all understanding what's legitimate, what's illegitimate. A few weeks ago, we had an assassination attempt on a former president of the United States. And now I'm going to go at Stephen. I think he was a little bit weak on it at first. And I think it's just important every time these things happen for us to
Don't rope me in. Don't rope me on your cuckoldry, okay? Absolutely not. Don't rope me on your cuckoldry, okay?
Well, hang on. So now I am going to go after you because you did say, and actually you doubled down before, I think a week ago, when I asked you, would you still say that it's okay to burn down a police station in response to police police brutality? And you said, yeah, it would be. And so now I'm going to go after you. Do you think it would be?
Hold on. First of all, a couple weeks ago, you asked me if I supported the particular burning down of a particular police station, which I don't ever remember doing. What I said was,
yes or no?
I don't remember supporting a particular one. The line of questioning that was given from chat, and I think I still feel the same, was that if you indeed do, if it gets to the point where you want to riot and you want to get violent or whatever, I don't think you should ever riot against private property. But if you want to riot against public property, it makes more sense because this would be the target of your ire because you feel like or whatever. It's the government that's fucking you over, or whatever. Pretty sure those were all of my statements. You can look it up and find something that contradicts it. I don't think I've ever said in particular this police station should be burned down or this thing. Pretty sure all I've ever said is if you are going to riot, destroy stuff, it should at least be public property, not private property. Pretty sure those are the same.
Would you support or would you not support the burning down of police station in BLM?
It would depend on the circumstances. Like random burning down of public property or random burning down, probably not. But like theoretically, let's say there was some police station and there was like a lynching of like 2 black people and the local cops exonerated all their own people and they said, well, nothing happened and like everybody saw the recordings or whatever. People decided to riot or whatever. It escalated to some violent shit. They burned it down. I don't know if I feel as bad about that. Like it makes more sense there, but
so who are you to talk down to like these people then? I guess if they feel that immigration has I totally disagree with them. I think they're stupid as hell, but they feel like their country's being taken away from them. That's the same kind of sentiment that I'm hearing from them.
Yeah, but my issue is they're always too spineless to just admit what they don't like. They try to pretend that it's about immigration or they try to pretend that it's about Muslims. It's about brown people. Like if they just said that, I'd have more respect for it. Like brown people are scary. I don't like the fact there are so many of them immigrating to this country.
That is not true.
First of all, the article that you linked me says nothing about this person being Christian whatsoever. So it just says that he was originally from Cardiff and that he moved there with Rwandan parents when he was age 6. So nothing in this article is about him being Christian. Okay,
that's
number
Cardiff
one.
in Wales.
Cardiff, or whatever, Cardiff or whatever, right? Okay, yeah, but that's my issue, is that if people would just be honest, and people just say, listen, these people are, the mass brown migrants are going to destroy our culture or whatever, then I'd be like, okay, fine, I get it. But they don't. They hide behind like all this other like cringe shit. Like this guy earlier was just saying like, well, they happen to be protesting near a mosque and some of them might have thrown bricks through the window, but it wasn't about protesting outside the mosque originally. Like, bro, if you're going to burn down a police station, say it. If you're going to throw bricks into a mosque, say you're there to protest a mosque. Like, don't like mince words.
Steven, are you... Like you just said, if you're scared they're going to change the culture, how would they change the culture? How would they do that?
Who?
How would all these brown immigrants change the culture?
I can't. I'm not a racist, so I can't compute the question. Are you saying how Muslims could change the culture? Is that the question?
You guys are just afraid of brown people, and then you said it's all about these brown people changing the culture.
Like you said it earlier when you're like mass migration and Muslim, they go together, and it's like what?
Right.
Well, then.
How would the brown people change the culture?
Yeah.
How would the brown people change the culture?
I don't know how brown. Are you asking how Muslims would change the culture?
Factors? Is it because maybe there are other factors than just immigrants being brown?
There could be.
And maybe that's people's main issue, which is why people were protesting outside a mosque and not just outside random brown people's houses.
Do you understand that when a Christian does a terror attack, and the response is, we're going to protest outside of a mosque. And the only thing linking these two things together is that Muslims tend to be brown and the attacker was brown. That doesn't help your argument, right?
Two things that people dislike about mass immigration is when they stab children and also when they change the religious dynamic of the country to something that
This guy was a Christian churchgoer.
Yeah, well, he stabbed people. That is not in line with British culture values.
Well, technically, I mean, knife attacks and stabbing seem to be pretty British to me. But what does that have to do with protesting outside of a mosque?
Because
they're both foreign. It's not that they're brown; it's that they're foreign. They're not English.
Are you like part of the Church of England, or what was the British thing when they broke up with the Catholic Church? What is that?
Again, source on the guy being a Christian churchgoer.
So I'll pick you up on something first, Destiny, and I don't think maybe this is not your fault, but you said it doesn't say in that article that he's Christian. No one said that it was released that he was Christian. It was released that he was the son of Rwandans. Rwanda is like 99% Christian. That's where that comes from. It's not that in the article they said he was Christian, so it was Rwandan. Simple mathematics says that he's Christian.
Do you think that when it was released that he was Rwandan, you don't think there's like a heavy association going on with, like, if it's 99% Christian, why was the protest outside of a mosque?
Because they're both foreign. Now,
because
the United Kingdom,
exactly.
The United Kingdom doesn't work like the United States, where you guys talk about race so much. We talk about ethnicity, and if you're not English, you're not from England, you're foreign. part of the massive vote for Brexit, for example, in 2016 was about white migration coming here, Europeans, largely being Eastern Europeans. Again, it's in that instance, and while part of the wider discussion about immigration, we're not massively concerned about race when you talk to people. It's about foreigners. Now, being brown,
I thought you said it was
obviously
about
gives away that you're
ethnicity,
a foreigner
or
more likely.
So,
Sorry. You asked a
okay,
question.
wait. So it's about ethnicity and it's about being English. What does English mean? What is the English ethnicity to you? What do we, just to make sure we're on the same?
So the English are an ethnic group. They live in England mostly. The diaspora is a little bit around the world, like all other ethnic groups.
Is this like
They're outside of the
Anglo-Saxon, or what is a?
What, in the same
Hang
way
on.
you
So,
find
sorry. Are you
Swedes in
denying
English
that
Sweden?
English exists as an ethnic group? Because
I don't know how. I'm going to be totally honest.
think
People
anybody
use
denies
nation,
that.
race, and ethnicity in like tons of different ways. I've never heard of the English ethnicity before. I think I've heard of Anglo-Saxon before, but I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. I'm not trying to poke fun of or make fun. I'm just not sure when you say English ethnicity. I'm not sure what that ethnic group or what you're referring to. I'm just curious if there's like a more particular.
Scots are up north. It's not hard. The Irish have their own island. The Welsh are from Wales. This isn't difficult.
you've got the English, Welsh, Scots, and the Irish on this archipelago.
So do you guys think that
And
England
those are
is
the primarily ethnic
Okay,
groups.
wait. Okay. So when you talk about English, Welsh, Irish, or Scottish, do you consider that another ethnic group in the UK?
Sorry,
Yeah, I mean, they're
missed
all
the question.
slightly different.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't know. I'm just like I said. I don't know. We
I
use
put in the
ethnicity and
Google
race. Even between
definition of-
Canada and America, I think we use ethnicity and race different. Okay. So are you telling me that when you guys are trying to get the reduction of immigrants coming to the country, do you feel just as strongly about white immigrants, brown immigrants, Catholic immigrants, and Muslim immigrants?
So I
Well,
put
I
in
mean,
the definition
yes.
of an ethnic group in the chat if you can.
I mean,
And-
like as Callum was saying, the Brexit vote in 2016 was driven primarily by concerns of immigration from the rest of Europe. A lot of people are saying Poles, Romanians, who were the most of the people coming over to the UK for work, and obviously it was people's concerned about jobs and wages, and so people were concerned about people coming from Europe who looked just as white, quote unquote, as you or I. So that's why so the UK immigration stuff, it hasn't been racially, quote unquote, based for a while.
That's a simplification. I mean, they were also concerned about quote unquote sovereignty and the power of Brits to control themselves. And so
Yeah,
yeah,
One final question. One final question. Then piece of conclusion.
Control their own
Have there
borders.
ever been like riots or anything outside of like Catholic churches?
yeah, there were fights with Polish immigrants, if I remember correctly, because there were Polish gangs. I think it was in Boston.
Can
But-
you can
Yeah, that's
you
right.
like me a story about like a vandalization or something of like a Catholic church that's happened in the last few years? I'm just curious. I was really to see it.
You have to go and find it
mean-
because it was that's about 10 years ago we're talking now. But the discussion isn't about is it white or black is our point. And it's obvious that if you're a different skin tone, it gives away more likely that you're a foreigner or descendant of foreigners. That's just how things work. But the idea that it's not about all foreigners is not untrue. The problem specifically with certain communities like Muslims is that their crimes are a lot worse than Poles. So as a friend mentioned here, the concern with Eastern European migration was wages, jobs, housing, things like this. But when it comes to people from Pakistan, it's about the fucked up views they have about age of consent, for example. The crimes are much worse in that particular community, and therefore that's what's caused these tensions.
do you think they should be deported? You
Yeah,
think
we have a Pakistani rapist who's been here for 9 years after.
Do
he
you
served his
believe that they
sentence.
should en masse be deported?
Yeah,
Okay.
The
You believe so
rapists.
en masse? You believe Pakistani UK citizens should be thrown out of the country? Is that right?
I was talking about rapists.
No, but just in general, non-rapists.
Well, my position is that if they don't have citizenship, we should let their visas expire and not issue renewals of visas or new visas because we have too many immigrants.
Should UK citizens who have Pakistani heritage, should they be removed from the country?
If they have UK citizenship, you can't legally do it.
I'm not asking if you can legally do it. I'm asking, should they be? Should they
I'm
make
sorry,
it legal to do so? Parliament can make it legal to do so.
I suppose they could make it legal to do so. They
So
shouldn't.
should
do that.
they? Yes or no?
I just said they shouldn't
Why not?
because it would cause chaos and we don't need it.
But don't you agree that they're destroying the character of the UK? They're not English.
So the problem we have in the UK is the large numbers of people who are coming in. As Lawrence pointed out, Luton, for example, the reason it's changed so much is not because you have 10 guys who turn up who are foreign, it's because you have thousands.
Sure,
So
this would reduce a lot of the numbers, right? If you, let's say 80% of them, you get 80% out. Wouldn't you agree with that?
The problem we have is people who have come since 1997. It's a very short period of time. It's about 10 million people. And if you just not allow them to renew their visas or issue new visas for new people coming in, those numbers will get back to levels in 1997. We didn't have these problems in 1997, so we will return to that time in regards to race relations.
I'm sorry, is this Pisco talking right now?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, who's got the loading screen on?
That's Loner Box. He's
okay,
also
well, tell him to, okay, can you shut off your video if it's just going to be that little loading thing?
Yeah, dipshit.
I turned it off.
It's not off.
Yeah,
Click the turn off button, dumbass.
It's still loading.
Sorry, give me a minute.
This is the Scottish ethnicity showing through.
Calum, it seems like the issue that you're identifying with the proposal that I just put forward was logistics. Like it would cause too much trouble to deport millions of UK citizens. But in principle, you wouldn't have an issue with it if it were painless.
What, to engage in forced migrations?
To deport UK citizens who have Pakistani heritage.
Well, we just don't need to do it.
I mean, whether you need to or not, you're saying that the numbers are a big problem. It's a numbers game, and so who cares if they're visa holders or UK citizens? Yeah, well, maybe one's easier, one's not as easy, but why not just get them all out?
Well, you can make a good case if they've committed crimes. So, for example, the guy I mentioned, he raped women. I believe it was in Rotherham, served his sentence, but has Pakistani and British citizenship. And so we've been trying to get rid of him. And 9 years after his sentence has already been served, he's still not been deported. I mean, this is the level of problem we're dealing with.
To be clear, so you would agree then that therefore that UK citizens who have English heritage, ethnicity, let's say, should not be deported somewhere else, right? But UK citizens who have Pakistani heritage, maybe they should be deported, who do crimes.
I mean, if UK citizens commit crimes, we should lock them up.
No, but should we deport and we wouldn't banish them? You'd agree with that, right? If you're a UK citizen,
that's how Australia was made.
Whether that's how Australia was made or not, you would agree, wouldn't you, that we shouldn't deport UK citizens who have English heritage just because they commit crimes? That's fair, right?
But hang on, I mean, deport them to where? The entire point of what Callum mentioned, that somebody who has dual citizenship can be deported.
Wait, I was deported. My grandmother is English, and I was deported just for questioning mass migration. So clearly, this is a very possible thing to do.
But you don't have citizenship, right?
Wrong. Like, if you don't have a good reason to engage in forced
Wait.
migration,
Also, hold on, Lauren, you don't have British citizenship.
Well, I am British ethnicity.
Stop. The English was the ethnicity, not the British. Okay, don't mix your words up. Don't accidentally, show your ass, okay? No, the English was the ethnicity. You didn't have British citizenship. So you can't be, I don't know if that even counts as deportation.
Anyways, the point is...
She just wanted to tell her story about having her free speech suppressed.
The point is, it's very easy to prevent people from coming into the country for a lot less than stabbing little children and running around calling for Sharia law. They could do it. Very possible. They choose not to.
Why did the Conservatives do it?
Great question. They suck. They're not actually conservatives. That's why they got voted out en masse, because everyone wanted an actual conservative party, and they didn't get it. And now Nigel Farage is going to be the opposition because he's the only one that's actually representing.
But it sounds like the people
half
don't
the population.
support him. And this is one of my big problems with riots is because the people don't support the policies that you're asking for. You point to Brexit, and yeah, you got Brexit, but Brexit, there were a lot of people who were voting for Brexit for a lot of different reasons, not the least of which were, I think, some lies, and now we see sort of the consequences of it. But there's no humongous support for reform or for Nigel Farage's policies at the moment. He got what?
Hang on.
Most people in most countries want to limit immigration. Like this is popular across
the vast majority of the UK has always had a majority in favor of limiting immigration. Nobody has ever voted for mass migration, even though every party since Blair has done it since 1997. Nobody has ever voted in favor of opening the doors to the rest of the world.
What is the policy of mass migration?
Every single time a party's won an election since 1997, they have won it on a pledge to reduce migration, or at least, crack down on border security. So the people have overwhelmingly voted for literally my entire lifetime to shut down migration. And I know you said Brexit was built on some lies, but again, the primary factor driving Brexit was concerns over immigration. That was the number one thing why people voted Brexit, which is why you saw in various polls, as Boris got into power in 2019, immigration drop as kind of salience because they thought, oh, Brexit is now fixing it, but now immigration now popped up on people's issues again because Boris, ironically, with the Conservatives over the past 5 years, has let in even more migrants than Blair did, almost during his entire period. People have been talking about the Boris wave and the amount of new migrants who've come in literally just over the past 4 or 5 years.
You paint it as an all or nothing, but it's not like that. People want immigration to some extent, but not other extents. There's like people want taxes to some extent, but not the full extent. And so you painting it as, well, people are in favor of limiting immigration. Yeah, that's true. Here in the America, we have a Democrat and Republican Party who are both running on limiting immigration more. That's true. But no one is proposing things like what Callum is proposing, where we're just like getting rid of all of our visa programs. The most that we've done is like close down the customs union, right? But no one is talking about the kind of policies I think that you guys are proposing.
So the Conservative
just so
Party
you know as well, like the Labour Party did not run on tens of thousands net migration or capping or anything like that, and they got the biggest landslide since the 1800s, right? They got the biggest majority since the 1800s. We don't typically have referenda on every key policy. That's why you can have a situation where most people support nationalising the railways, but we don't vote in a government that does it. Same with immigration. You can look at our attitudes. Like I think you said, a majority of people want to limit immigration to some degree. I mean, that's true, but that attitude's also been dropping since the 1960s in the UK overall, and compared to the rest, depending on how you ask the question, it goes down even lower. So yeah, that's the Reform. They ran on a very loud, very clear anti-immigrant first campaign. They won 5 seats. 4 of which are like 94% white, which is way above the national average, which is
but Reform then came in second in vote share. Came third in vote share. Gained more votes than UKIP ever did. Came second in around 100 or so constituencies, and of course, more people would be voting Reform if they voted in a political system such as PR, where they thought, because a lot of people would not be voting Reform because they didn't have a chance. And if you're going to say that Labour, won this, massive majority, actually not to do with immigration. Turnout was way down to around 52%, which is the lowest turnout we've seen since around 2001, 2005. Labour did not win the election. The Conservatives lost the election. The Conservative support in so many constituencies, like the Labour vote barely moved at all. It's just the Conservative vote absolutely plummeted because everybody who supported the Conservatives, who supported them reducing immigration, for, again, when they've been in power for, the past 15 years, when they didn't do it, their voters decide, well, F it, I'm not going to turn out and support the Conservatives because they're not implementing the policies that we want them to do. That's why Labour won, because their support remained pretty much the same. The Conservatives fell off.
The fact is that everyone in the UK knows that that's the electoral system that we signed up to when we had the election. Every party ran their strategies and their campaigns based on winning seats, not winning popular vote. The Reform vote share, by the way, was I think they won maybe 200,000 votes more than UKIP did in 2016. It wasn't even that much of a surge. But again, turnout was low. There was a party there with a very loud voice, Nigel Farage, who gets disproportionate representation on question time and everything else, saying, I'm going to stop immigration like the Conservatives didn't. And yeah, like you said, turnout was low. So this is the electoral system that we have. If you want to change the entire system, you can advocate for that and get PR.
My point was you can't use Reform being up 15% of the vote share to say that, only this percentage of people support Reform's policies. I'm saying more people would have supported Reform if we were in a PR system. That's my point. So you just can't say that because they only got X number of votes, that means it's only that percentage of the population who actually supports them, rather than it would have been.
We had a referendum on changing the vote system, and we voted against it. We had that 10 years ago. I mean, we can have another one if you want, but
yes, please.
Do you think our democratic system is illegitimate now, or was that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the alternative vote one wasn't even PR. The alternative vote system would have helped the Lib Dems more as the third party. So that was just a purely selfish system.
We should probably explain how broken the British system is for the Americans. So you guys get to vote for both of your chambers. You get to vote for the head of state and some local stuff as well. So we in the UK, we don't get to vote for our equivalent of the Senate. They're just appointed. We don't get to vote for our president. They just become the biggest party's leader in the election for the representatives. So we have very little in terms of democracy. We love the referendum, I'll be honest. That's probably the best time I've ever had in terms of being proud of we had a democratic system. since then, they tried to overthrow that referendum, which caused a lot of problems and why Boris ended up winning. So democracy in the UK is kind of a sham. I mean, it's a
well,
good
hold on. You have a
example of what
different, just because you have a
there.
different system doesn't mean it's not a democracy, right?
It is a form of democracy, but it's super rigged. I mean, one of the funny things about people rebelling against that is in the United States, for example, you guys are stuck with a two-party system. And that's somewhat tolerable because it's first past the post and you're in the two-party. We used to be there, and it sort of made sense. Again, you know full well of the problems that brings. But in our current age, the public no longer vote as if it's a first past the post system. They say screw it and vote as if we live in a proportional representation, multi-party democracy, because they just want change. And by results, even though Keir Starmer got the most seats, he got 33% of the vote, which is bugger all, especially in British politics.
Wait, but I mean, like,
So
I don't understand.
that
When you say he
election's-
got 33% of the vote, was this because of how you guys do like districting or whatever? Or because in the United States, this exact same thing happens too. Like our president that you said that we get to directly elect, we don't really directly elect them. Our states do. That's why Republicans win elections, even though they lose the popular vote over and over and over and over and over again. So,
Yes,
I mean,
you have your problems, but we don't even get that access at all, is my point. Can I say something on the build-up to this? Because this was very important, and our friend was bringing that up, which is that in 1997, so once upon a time, I decided to sit and look at every election manifesto of the winner of the election, going back over 20 years. So in 1997, the discussion on immigration used to be, we didn't have a problem with immigration, so they would just talk about what they called asylum shopping. So this was someone who would get to Greece and then claim asylum in the UK. We're familiar with this now, but back then it was kind of a quirk. Only a few tens of thousands of people did it. Then up to the 2010s, it becomes more of an issue. On 2010, the David Cameron government wins on the pledge to basically put in a hard cap of under 100,000. He said they will reduce migration to tens of thousands. That's where our friend Lonerbox got that saying from. And ever since, if you look at every Conservative Party manifesto where they won the election, they say the same thing. Right up until Boris Johnson, where they kind of gave up and just said, we will control it. And then they massively expanded it. So yes, the public have voted for this policy, and it has been ignored.
Just quickly jumping in on that as well. Even Labour voters, as a majority, support lowering immigration.
can you link a poll on that? Just curious. I just want to see that. Because everything I see for like immigration in Britain seems to have it like 50-50. It's what it feels like in terms of whether there are too many immigrants here or not. So it's kind of weird if even Labour supports it. Who are all these people that...
I will just say, and Labour in the last election, they specifically... Labour specifically said to promise to cut net migration to the UK, did not set an overall target. So Labour specifically as well said that they would, and I'll find a polling on that as well.
Quick
But
fact
either way,
check.
go and check the manifestos.
Quick question: when did you say the name was released of the boy who did the stabbing?
Tuesday. Name released was Thursday, Friday. But we knew that he was a Rwandan.
Was it August 1st?
Sometime around that. Now, so what? Common thinking in the chat.
Was it August? Do you know it to be August 1st, or do you not know it to be August 1st?
In terms of when the name was released, I know it was like Friday, Saturday, sometime around that, or Thursday. It was towards the end of the week. If the point is you're saying it was after the first riot, then yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but we already knew his name. It was he was identified as the son of two Rwandan immigrants on Tuesday morning, which was July.
I'm asking when.
Can I just ask the question? Can I just ask? You can cut through all of this really, really easily. I just want to ask.
Sorry. After you ask this, I just want to give Sean a chance to respond because his audio is a little low and he hasn't been able to get in. But yes, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just wanted to ask, do we all agree that the people who did those riots were more likely to be getting their information from accounts like Tommy Robinson's or X accounts than they were from the BBC, Telegraph, etc.? Why is everyone so quiet? Do we agree or not?
Because the answer is almost obviously, certainly, yes.
And again, Twitter on Tuesday morning, already, and Tommy Robinson, etc., were already saying that, again, as Callum says here, the youth who cannot be named for legal reasons and is originally from Cardiff moved to the Southport area with his Rwandan parents when he was age 6. On that side of Twitter/Telegram, by Tuesday morning, this was already spreading and people were well aware of this. Certainly by mid-afternoon.
Tommy Robinson first, when he mentioned that they spoke about Rwandan parents, Tommy Robinson just said it was gaslighting and didn't elaborate. That's what his tweet said. Did we all watch the video
The
that Tommy Robinson?
gaslighting,
Wait. Did we
gaslighting
watch
people we're talking about. I don't care about the Tommy Robinson video. The gaslighting people we're talking about is when the mainstream media came out and said he was Welsh.
Or
This
UK
is a-
born, which
Yes.
is
UK born, yes.
that they described him.
Well,
And
he
then
is UK
the
born.
gaslighting we
Welsh-
have
he's
actively
Welsh
heard in
born
this
and from
call
Rwanda.
has been you guys saying, well, he's the son of refugees and he's a Christian. Do you have any confirmation on that? For all of the getting upset about what was specifically said by people who was no one in this call, what about you guys and all the
I'm not talking-
BS
what?
you're talking about? I mean, both Steven and Pisco have been like, Christian.
wait, hang on.
Wait, hold on.
Refugee
Yeah, this is
parents.
about what was going on in the media sphere about the rights and everything. I haven't covered this. I haven't given a about any of this
What's
shit,
going on in the
okay?
media sphere? He was Welsh. He was UK born.
Both of those statements are true.
He's a white guy. Yeah, but if you leave out the other details, you're sure.
Wait, were there people reporting this who were leaving out the other details, or people who were remarking how funny it was to be throwing bricks at a mosque because a Welsh-born Christian went and stabbed people?
Why he's a Christian?
Hang on,
father
Christian,
was
source
reported as
is Christian,
Source?
please.
Okay,
Source?
hold on one
Yes.
second.
So what you're saying now on the Christian point shows the whole game, right? You're saying it's not even confirmed now if he's Christian. Is that right?
Yes, no.
Is that correct?
I thought I already linked something in this Discord.
So
when
you
people
just
talk,
said,
let me just clarify
yes
something.
or no. You just said yes or no that even now we don't know that he's Christian. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
When the sort of
given
Christian
that-
Muslim stuff was being talked,
Given
I'll
that,
just clarify.
hang on a second. Given that, the fact that it was released that he was Rwandan on Tuesday, that's what you say, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We have no evidence that reached mass information or that it was reported by credible sources or anything like
Better
that.
be fucking live here,
but
okay.
the fact that you're saying now that it's not confirmed that he's Christian, you would agree, therefore, that the first riot occurred before that information was released and when it was under the impression that he was Muslim. You would agree with that?
No. It was on Tuesday. It was on Tuesday. The Telegraph reported. We've linked you this in the chat. We've talked about it. On Tuesday, the Telegraph reported that he was the son of 2 Rwandan immigrants.
But you said that doesn't confirm for you, even for you that he's Christian. Is that fair?
But there's nothing to do whether he's Christian or not.
We've established.
But people weren't rioting over him being Christian. They were rioting over him being foreign.
But
And
he's
that's
not
why
foreign. He's
they
born in the
took him off.
UK. You keep saying
Can
foreign,
we
but he
just-
was
can we
born in the
just-
UK.
Just so you guys know what.
But the point is,
so
he
as far
would
as him being
never have
Christian-
been here if immigration didn't happen.
You don't even
That's
know how
what
his
people
family
are
got
mad
here,
about.
though. You don't know what they immigrated under. What if they immigrated under a perfectly legal thing? What if it was like an asylum refugee
That doesn't-
situation? You have
That's
no
the
idea.
point. Yeah, people don't want immigration, and that's
Wait,
why.
is
And
it
they're
asylum?
saying,
Wait. Then at least specify that.
He
Wait.
would have stabbed
Then at
kids.
least specify that. Don't say you're opposed to mass immigration. Just say you're opposed to immigration. Period. You don't want any immigrants. No immigrants at all. Refugee asylum. Nothing. No immigrants at all.
You don't want any immigrants.
Yeah, because
Is that
you're
fair?
appealing to popular opinion. Popular opinion when it comes to limiting immigration. People might say they want immigration reduced. People don't say stop them all coming. As far as we know about Christianity, I think there was one or two tabloids. I think like TRT said that the people in the local community said that the parents were regular churchgoers and they were Christian. That's what they said. As far as we know, these parents, like, they were from a quiet community. They hadn't really done anything. I don't think they were refugees. They came in 2002, which probably just means they were regular migrants. But I don't know, what's the claim here? Like, you understand that any demographic ever is going to have some people who commit crimes.
Okay,
So,
the amount of crime being committed by specific demographics,
Yeah.
it's a little uneven. But before we continue, I do, Stephen, you're really good at
You're gonna
troubleshooting.
elaborate on
Do you
that,
think
Lauren?
you could? Yeah, I will. But could anyone? I really want to get Sean's mic audio up. Does anyone know what he needs to do? I am
my
way too
God,
much of a
what's
boomer.
Turn his gain up, maybe?
Yeah. Well, the problem is he's using the streamer mic, which is the SM7B. Do you have a cloud lifter attached to it?
Yeah.
Okay, you do. Is the gain on the on your mixer or your interface turned up?
Let me find that. Hold on. Probably that's the.
Wait, what is that? Is
Stop
it?
getting mad at each
Wait.
other.
What are you plugged into?
We'll try turning it on and off again, sir.
Oh, my mixer is somewhere. I
Please.
just gotta find it, but it's definitely there. Hold on, let me find it. I'll turn that up. I didn't think of that.
Said while this is all being debated, there's people saying, talking about Christianity and that what, well, when was the last time a Christian,
Jack,
for
we're
religious
troubleshooting.
reasons,
Sorry.
blew up an arena?
When was the last time a what?
A
let's
Christian
talk about the
blew up.
Manchester bombings.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no idea.
They don't.
Okay.
And
Is
spoiler,
it getting
they
louder
haven't.
or lower?
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
but Lauren, a little bit before I jumped on, you said that it looks like what Stephen made a joke about stabbing being a British thing. You said it looks like it is now. What were you referring to there?
Am I getting lower or higher?
You
that
quipped about how it
stabbings
looks
and
like it's a
acid
stabbing country
attacks
now.
have gone up as a result of mass
I just think
migration,
it's funny that
yes.
you mentioned. It's funny that you mentioned that because, like, as far as stabbings being a problem in the UK, the worst time we had stabbing, and when we were the fucking knife murder capital of Europe, was in like the mid 2000s in fucking Glasgow, like a majority white pasty fuck population. That's when we had back when people like in that community had like a life expectancy that for men it was like 54 or something, like lower than the Gaza Strip. That was actually when we had it worst with knife crime.
I mean, you can send me that data. I'd be happy to look at it. But
And I mean, there was a time known as the Troubles where there were bombs going off and terrorism happening. And so let's not pretend that this is I agree. There's a problem with terrorism in the Islamic world. But like, what are we talking about here? Are we literally talking about shutting down all immigration? Are you in favor of laws that stop all immigration, including asylum? Yes or no? And that's to Callum and I'm sorry, I keep forgetting your name. Sour Evil Boy and Jack.
Sorry,
You're in favor of stopping all immigration
Right now, for you to tell me if I'm getting higher or lower.
a little bit,
You're fine.
bit higher.
You're getting a little
We
higher.
can hear you now.
Higher.
A little higher.
Keep going.
Up.
Turning this wheel. Is it too loud now?
No, wait.
No.
What are you turning the wheel on? What are you
Still
plugged
doing
into?
A doohickey.
I need the name of it. What are you plugged into? Is it red? What color is it? Show me it. Pick it up.
It's blue. I have a doohickey. I left my red one somewhere.
Is that an H1 whatever? H4?
You're using an
No.
XLR to USB with an inline fucking converter. Where's your cloud lifter? Show me.
Jesus Christ.
Is
It's
it?
a regular cloud lifter. It doesn't have dongles on it.
It looks like. Oh no, I can't.
That's
This
the
thing.
blue cloud lifter.
Not that I'm using it. Right.
Am I retarded? Do cloud lifters need phantom power to work?
What's phantom
None of us
power?
non-streamers know what the fuck. any of
Loner
you are
box, you should
talking
know
about.
this. You fucking.
No, they don't need phantom power. I don't think.
Guitar
because
loser
it would be
fuck.
for. It's a dynamic
This is
mic,
just
so it
going all the
wouldn't
way,
need
all the way
Any
from my
phantom
head.
power.
I have a cloud lifter. It lifts. Wait,
Okay.
why can't I be heard? I don't understand
You're
this.
a little better. I don't know how, but you are a little better.
Because somewhere
Maybe-
between your cloud lifter, there's a
No, yes,
How
hold
much
on.
is
Fuck you
USB?
guys. Cloud lifters do need power to work. It needs power. It adds gain. How would it work otherwise? It's just an XLR cable.
Phantom power. Yep.
Am I louder than everyone?
You don't. Does the inline thing that you have built? Does it have a plus 48V switch on it somewhere?
No, I don't have that. Whatever.
Okay. Your shit is
It
fucked.
gives phantom power.
yeah, power and phantom power are not the.
What else would you be talking? Excuse me. If you're talking about power for a mic, first of all, I said phantom power. But secondly, what else would you be talking about? It's an XLR cable. They don't carry power to it. Of course, you're talking about phantom power. Otherwise, right?
Wait, hang on. Wait. Cloud lifters. You're talking about the mic. Oh, okay.
Cloud lifters. They're clean. They're like.
The mics don't, but
Is it a preamp? I think. Yeah. Listen, your shit
What's
is
your
fucked.
favorite
Yeah.
amplifier, guys?
AC30, obviously.
I don't know. Maybe
never
could
got out
just
of the
Discord
stage, right.
settings.
You
Also,
can turn up
wait.
your
As
own
just a
audio
quick,
and-
as a quick real fact check
Sure.
by an American patriot who is white. When we talk about do Christians bomb shit, wasn't there like a whole thing with Ireland for a little bit where they were kind of blowing shit up all the time?
They're
As I
friends
said,
now,
as-
believe it or not.
Oh well, so things can change. Oh, amazing. All right.
As
the
you know,
murder
like,
capitals of Europe now are all like
Yeah, when
fucking
someone who
Estonia,
bombs
Latvia,
stuff more
Lithuania
than
as
you
well,
do
by the way.
comes
Yeah.
in.
hang on.
Changes.
Like, couple things pull up there. Firstly, like Northern Ireland just looks, from the outside, you can say, oh, it's a Catholic versus Protestant thing. It's not. It's an Irish versus British thing. It's an ethnic conflict that happens to, match onto religious lines. They weren't killing each other because they believed in, sola scriptura. No, they were killing each other because both of them believed that they had in their communities the right to live in Northern Ireland. So it's not a religious conflict. It's an ethnic conflict. It just happens to be across, sectarian divides in that way.
You don't think it's religious at all?
You don't think like Ian Paisley
Secondly,
was like a fucking
just putting up on the
reverend.
knife crime. The only reason why other people have like there's fewer knife murders here is because the hospitals are getting far better treating stab wounds, so people don't actually die.
I do want to bring up a graph here, and I can link it in the chat. But if
Wait, what are these huge gains in treating knife stabbing wounds? Have there been big strides in the field of knife stabbing wounds treatments made?
where do you think the top 10 to 20 countries are all around? Where do you think Japan
I have
is
no
versus
idea.
Somalia?
For what?
I have no idea. Are you comparing the crime
Violent
rate?
crime conviction rate. No. These are immigrants.
Immigrants
to
from
Denmark.
Japan. Yeah,
Immigrants
I'm not-
from, say, Europe is Norway.
Is
Very
it
similar to
normalizing?
Denmark.
Is it normalizing
I'll send this.
As soon as you said normalize, the answer is already absolutely no. The answer is already absolutely no.
Well, then I'm going to just discard that.
No, I'm just. This is
our mass immigration data. We don't believe in.
Knows it.
We don't believe in normalization.
Everybody
here.
knows it. There are certain countries, certain immigrants who commit more crime than others, and denying this is just delusional.
Yeah, but no one's denying that, Lauren. I was just asking you to elaborate on it in the UK. Which ethnic groups in the UK are doing the most crime? Because these riots seem to suggest they're going for Muslims, right? So.
Okay.
I'd also then
You don't think
pulling up, for
Islamic
example,
immigrants
in
are more
terms of-
likely to commit crime than?
No, this is why. Hold on.
I'm
It's so
asking you to elaborate. I know the answer,
your
I'm asking
arguments
you.
would carry more legitimacy if you actually had more targeted. I haven't looked at immigration in Europe in a long time, but my understanding was that your group of immigrants that were the most likely to commit crime were generally people that were immigrating from northern Africa. But when you just say Muslims, like the people that came from Syria in the refugee crisis were not the same as people that come from like Morocco and Tunisia, like North Africa. It's not the same type.
Pretty high.
But when you say
it's pretty high on the crime rates.
When you say I don't
something on the arrest rates if you want. Like we can look at. So I think in the UK the highest crime rates are from people from the Caribbean, from Windrush, like those generations. I thought that was where all the big disproportionate crime waves are coming from. The massively high arrest and conviction rates. For Pakistanis, it's a little bit higher than white, not much. I think it's 11.3 versus 9.4. Arabs in the UK have a lower arrest rate than white people. It's like less than half. So yeah, it's a little bit. That's why I'm asking you. I feel like you don't know though. That's why.
So I have to applaud
what are you commenting on?
Data showing that Arabs commit less crime than white Brits. I'd be happy to look.
Hold on, Arabs are Muslims. What are we talking about? What the fuck?
What do you mean?
So
Arabs
I have
are
to.
Muslims?
Here's the
What?
Loner Box said Arabs and Lauren
UK.
repeated Arabs. But
he
Loner
said
Box is
Arabs.
going through and is making the good point, I think, that there are different groups of immigrants who are Muslim. I mean, Pakistan is different than they're not Arab, right? And Arabs are different, maybe from one locality versus another. And people from Rwanda are not even Muslim. So like, it seems like the one factor that cuts through everything is they're all brown. That
They stand true.
What's going on here?
Well, you're probably right. If a Norwegian person that was born in Norway and their family came from Norway that was Muslim came over to the UK, they would probably commit.
Wait, Norway is not the country that had the one dude that walked to the island with a bow and arrow and fucking killed 20 people or some shit. Okay.
That's
one dude. Wait. So I have a question, Lauren.
That's one dude. That's like half the population of Norway, to be fair.
I want to ask Lauren, unironically, would you be in favor, if it's true, if what you're saying is true, and that Muslim immigrants commit much more crime, why wouldn't you be in favor of a Muslim ban into UK?
Favor of reasonable levels of immigration that are sustainable and have actual assimilation connected to them.
Sure, but it seems like Muslims are the big problem. Yeah, but it seems like Muslims are the big problem.
When you have enough people come into a town like Luton that I can't put up a pride poster without people spitting on me and the police having to arrest me because it's going to cause a riot. Yeah, you have too many Muslims in one area that are assimilating.
Why don't we follow Donald Trump's lead and let's ban Muslim immigration until we figure out what the hell's going on?
That's what you're saying.
Well, yeah,
that's not
I'm asking whether you're...
I mean, I would just put it wouldn't just be Muslims. It would be you need to stop immigration until you have proper housing numbers for people.
Why don't we start somewhere?
Until you have cultural cohesion again. Why would we start with just Muslims? That's you saying.
Because they seem to be the biggest problem, right?
There's a model.
You just said they were the biggest problem.
There is a problem there with extremism, for sure.
Why don't we start there?
And then there's a problem with grooming.
If you want to, sure.
No. Would you agree with the policy, Lauren? Would you?
I just told you the policy I agree with. You're not listening. I said that I think we need significantly less immigration to the West.
Okay,
I don't
here's the question.
Everyone, I don't think it needs to be specific to.
I understand, Lauren. You're president. I know it's prime minister, but I'm just joking. You're president of Canada, or let's make it UK. You're the prime minister of UK. A bill comes across your desk, and let's say that you have to sign it. I know it's different in the UK. I know it's different. Would you sign it if it said ban all Muslim immigration into the UK? Would you sign it? Yes or no?
I would propose a different bill that was just based on
would you veto it?
Because like you said, look at this Rwandan. Probably not Muslim. We don't know, but probably not Muslim, causing problems.
Is the answer you wouldn't sign that bill if it was before you?
If that was the only bill I had available to stop the hordes of people coming in, yeah, I'd probably sign it, but I would prefer something else that wasn't specific to just Muslims. You're giving me the most strange niche question ever and forcing me to answer yes to it. Like, what is the other option? You just let everybody in?
You could say no, this bill is... You say no. I don't agree.
I literally, my first answer was no. I would prefer a bill that addressed wider immigration issues and still had flexibility for people who were non-radical Muslims to come in, not in mass where they're taking over whole neighborhoods.
But you could easily say no. I don't agree with immigration restrictions based on religion. I don't agree with that. You could have said that and been like, I'm not going to sign it.
That's literally what I said, and you're not listening.
But you said that if push came to shove and that were the only immigration bill on your desk, you'd sign it.
If push came to shove, and that was my only option to stop the mass immigration, which is causing issues across the board that have nothing in some cases to do with religion, just violent crime, everything. Yeah, I would rather sign that and perhaps prevent some grooming gangs and stuff, but that would not be my preferred method of approach. No, that would not be it.
It would be an infringement, wouldn't everyone say, on the right to practice your religion? If we're making restrictions based on religion, where does it end? I mean, really?
No one here is saying that. You're making an extreme hypothetical to try to push me into a box to say, look, you want to restrict. I don't want that. I've told you. In
this country, and at least in America, it's not an extreme hypothetical because a leading candidate for president proposed it. And so it's something that we have to deal with because there are people in my country, a lot of people, who agree with an outright Muslim ban as a policy. And so to me, it's anything but hypothetical. We had years of litigation over
happening, and it didn't happen.
Okay, now you can say the ending up, bill wasn't a Muslim ban, but it's an issue in my country. It's not what I'm proposing to you. What I'm telling you isn't something that's just a hypothetical. And in fact, people from the English Defense League, whatever this league is, right? I'm sure that they would all say yes, happily would sign it. Of course, they would. That would be the point, right? I mean,
sorry, just going to say the English Defence League, which hasn't existed for 10 years, by the way, mind you.
Whatever these people are, these Robinson guys.
It's just kind of funny to have Americans just talk all this shit about the states that they don't even know what they're talking about.
Well, Jack, would you answer the question? Would you agree? Would you sign happily a ban on Muslim immigration to UK? Yes or no?
Well, I want a ban on all immigration to the UK.
But if they were to start with Muslims, would you start there and would you sign a Muslim ban?
No, I wouldn't sign a Muslim ban specifically.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad to hear that you're not in favor of Muslim ban. Callum, would you?
It doesn't go far enough, so no.
Okay. So that's a start.
I just want to stop all immigration,
even asylums, right? All forms of immigration, all visas too.
Ukrainians, because they made up. That's the reason the net migration spike. Yeah.
Here's a point on asylums and refugees, for example. The problem with the mass immigration is because of how tiny our country is in terms of population, infrastructure. Like, we can't actually take, people who should be asyled here temporarily. So, for example, if we didn't have massive immigration, we probably would have had the infrastructure to temporarily take some of the Ukrainian refugees over, who would then be able to. They wouldn't live here forever, but they're able to go home after the war ended. Hong Kong, obviously, like in terms of international British obligations, we have more of that because the treaty with China to defend Hong Kong is made with us, and there's people moving Hong Kong right now who are being oppressed over that. But if like 200,000 Hong Kongers came in, like a country with no mass immigration would probably be able to handle that a lot better than a country where you have millions of people coming in basically every year.
And mass immigration is a system that currently exists in the UK. Mm-hmm. And that's represented by the asylum.
You have to say millions. Like, net migration has never been a million in the UK, has it? Maybe like
over the last year, it pretty much just hit almost
net migration. I thought net migration was 600,000.
No, it hasn't been for a couple of years now. I have put in a graph in the chat. I will relink it.
Let me see your
Sorry,
graph.
I'm a bit annoyed because I'm a bit obsessed with that topic, and it's annoying how little people seem to have picked up on it. Mass migration to this country was described that way when it was at 300,000 because it was a massive change from our pre-1997 situation.
The net migration graph you sent me is below a million, just so you know. It's what I said. It's about 600,000. It's a bit over 600,000.
I'm terribly sorry. I'm probably thinking of something else then, but I'm pretty sure it's higher than that. Maybe it's not including refugees for that graph. But
yeah.
You think there are 400,000 refugees coming to the UK in 1 year?
I think there was a separate section on that, actually, if I recall correctly.
I feel this is like the go-to topic for you guys. I feel like you should have these numbers fairly accessible. Net migration was unusually high in 2023, partly because a third of them were Ukrainian. It was 685,000. Usually we're about 400,000. Where did millions come from?
Because you count the numbers. So if Lauren comes back, she's currently away. So if she could get that graph on screen. Hello.
Which graph? I'll bring a graph on the screen.
forever.
We'll
Put a
see
full
if I
stop
can
on
do
it.
that.
It's a bit
Sorry,
shittily done.
okay, you said asylum seekers made up the difference. How many asylum seekers came to the
didn't say
UK you said refugees, asylum seekers, no?
I said it may be.
It may be. How
Which
confident are
page
you in
is
that
this
claim?
on? Callum, which page is this on? This is
So it's in the Discord. It's
Yeah,
I
I've
put a
opened
full
it.
Are you
stop
guys not
on it.
like the go-to voices in immigration? You don't even know the fucking numbers for net migration and asylum seeking in the UK, and you're getting millions.
I'm about to help him bring it up. Callum, which page of this?
Why does he
House of
need
Commons
fucking
document
help?
is it on? What? Because he wants to
Because
get
you're
it
talking.
right.
Shut
Obviously.
the fuck up. So if you go to the bottom of the chat, you can then find a full stop. That should take you, the thing it's full stopping towards should take you to the image I've added. I'm not the go-to voice for this thing. I'm a travel vlogger, mate. But that graph is horrific. People want to return to the 1997 era. They don't want to live in the current era. That's the complaint.
Hey, just so you guys know, the net migration was unusually high in 2023, and it was like 600,000. Usually it's 400,000. For asylum seekers, it was 84,000 in that year. But
yeah, that sounds horrible.
Unusually high.
Yeah, that's still 700,000
Partly
people.
to do with
So
that. Yeah, again. Okay.
I'm so sorry that I mixed up gross and net. You know, when the net is when the actual point is that still over 1 million people came to the country. You know, Brits are then leaving. You know, like, hey, maybe I wonder, maybe a reason why so many Brits are leaving is because millions of people came to the country.
Wait, is that true? Do you know that?
That could be a factor in that.
First of all, when you say, sorry, I mixed up gross and net, I mean, it's gross and net is kind of important, right? Like if 500,000 Muslims migrated to your country and like 10 million left, I'm sure you'd be happy about that. So gross and net matter, number one. Number two,
yes,
wait,
but in terms
are all of our
correct,
good,
but in
like
terms
white
of the
ethnic
scale, it's
British
still
people
hundreds
leaving
of thousands?
the UK? Where are they going? Where are they going to a place that's free of Muslim immigration if they're leaving the UK? Are they going? They're not going back to the European Union, I hope, because that would be pretty embarrassing if that was the case, right?
I mean, a lot of people are moving to Australia right now. You see, even Australians complain that so many Brits are moving there when they have a housing crisis. So,
we've got a problem with Brits coming here.
Yeah, the largest
Canada as well.
immigration
I believe Brits are still a very significant immigration population to Canada, the US, and Australia.
Yeah, we're trying to do something about that, but.
I need to kick 2 people because have someone else coming in here shortly. Is anyone like have to leave soon?
You can kick me.
Who is that?
Pisco.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, you can kick me if I'm unhearable. I'm just like kind of sitting.
Oh, if you have more to add, I feel like you haven't gotten to chit chat at all. Are you
This
gonna?
is the worst piano recital ever. Am I still like not hearable? I don't understand.
No, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Oh.
Okay. Okay,
So
you know what?
I wanted to argue.
Just stick around. Pisco said he's gonna go, and then I'll just add Lucy. Lucy will be good because she is. She's kind of got critiques of all sides.
That means she's a conservative 1 trillion% and is exclusively anti-immigration and has never said a good thing about a left-leaning person her entire life. I'm ready for it. All right.
All right, thanks, guys.
Riots, but okay. Oh, Pisco just left on his own. That's helpful.
Good. F him. Peruvian immigrant, by the way, isn't he? What is he? He's something bad.
All right.
Truly the worst. I'm joking.
Okay.
But if you...
Sorry, I couldn't get your document up here, Callum. It doesn't take me directly to the graph, but I did my best.
Okay. I'll get a tweet with it for you.
Yeah, if you tweet it out, I can. Stephen, do you actually think that these riots between the BLM and the UK stuff are comparable?
I mean, they're both riots.
Do you think they're comparable in the UK, Lauren? Like the BLM protests in the UK compared to these riots and the first 6 days?
Nothing comparable between them. I mean, I've said that on X. I've explained my reasoning. In one case, you have people actively asking to dismantle the police, literally, defund the police. And in the other, people are saying, please enforce our borders.
You understand? Wait, hold on. No, wait. So wait, hold on, wait. I want you to give me a better version of what you think BLM was protesting for. Try one more time.
Against police brutality, but we had plenty of people, media, activists, BLM heads of the organization saying defund the police.
And when they were saying defund the police, why? What were they saying it for? What do they want to do? What was the end goal there?
Because they believe the police are racist.
And what was the end goal?
the end goal was community policing.
Just
Chaz,
save
I
the
said.
There you go.
Nice.
Okay, there you go. Now you're saying it with derision because that's so
Yeah, but
unbelievable to you. But there you go. At least you did it. At least you did a little bit better.
Community policing is
Okay.
unhinged.
Yeah, about as unhinged as saying we should deport every single second generation immigrant from the UK. You know, it's a fantastic position that will never happen, right?
People are not even asking for that in mass.
There's someone in this call who is saying they would want to do that. What do you mean?
What do you think, wait, Lauren? What do you think the rioters want in the first 6 days?
The rioters
this is not.
want
I'm sorry.
Hang on.
Sorry, I just want to say I didn't say that. I don't believe
They
Callum
don't
said
just want
that either.
borders. Don't stop saying they just want borders.
Who in this call said that?
Well, I heard somebody earlier today. Didn't somebody say that they would deport if they had the ability to? Didn't Pisco ask one of the two people in here questions if they would deport all fucking Muslim immigrants or whatever? Did I misunderstand that?
Oh, who said that?
I don't remember who. Pisco was talking to somebody else. I'm doing notes over here.
Well, we talked about
Everyone-
deporting criminals. We talked about getting rid of people's visas, letting them expire, and then deporting people. But, you know, nobody said we should deport every second generation immigrant here.
Hold on. No, who are Muslim? Sorry, my bad. Muslims.
I also believe we didn't say that either.
Is it okay? Wait, Callum, are you in favor of deporting Muslims from the United Kingdom?
No, I'm in favor of getting rid of foreigners. Again, we don't talk in terms of race and such. We talk in terms of ethnic groups.
Okay, I didn't bring up a race or ethnic group. I asked for Muslims. So you're okay keeping all the Muslims that exist in Britain if they're white?
No, the foreign ones have to go.
What is when you say foreign? How foreign? Like up to second, third, fourth generation? What does that mean?
No, if they're on a visa, you let the visa expire, and then if they overstay their visa, they've now committed a crime which they can be arrested and forcibly deported for.
Okay, so
No,
then like the kid that did the
second-
so then the kid that just did the stabbing a few days ago, you wouldn't be for deporting somebody like that before he did the stabbing because he's a second generation immigrant.
I don't know his immigration status. Just because he's born here doesn't mean he's a British citizen. But we shouldn't be in this situation to begin with.
Wait,
So-
why
Just
is it?
to be clear, most of the migrant crime in the UK, whether it's Windrush or the grooming gangs and all that, like these are mostly second generation immigrants, or at least disproportionately. So these people, it's not about visa question. These guys are British citizens.
I don't know how they did.
I know we shouldn't have gotten in this situation. We should have never allowed their parents to come.
And they're here now. So do you have any plans for them, or do they just stay and have kids and those people have kids, or what?
Well, if they're citizens, you can't forcibly deport them. It's very sad. If they've got dual citizenship, you can get rid of them. And in terms of those on visas, that makes up about, I think it's 50% of our foreign population. So about 5 million people, which would completely correct the problems we're dealing with.
Wait, what? Say that last part again. Sorry, I didn't hear.
It would completely correct the problems we're dealing with to get rid of the 5 million who have come in the last 20 years who are on visas.
Okay, but you would. I guess early when you're saying deport foreigners, I don't know what is a foreigner to you. What does that count as? Just somebody that doesn't have citizenship, or?
So in conversational terms, when we use the word foreigner, we mean people who are not of the English. When we're talking about England, in the same way that if I'm English, for example, so I wouldn't be allowed in the Polish tribe. I'm not a Pole.
When you say
can't
of
become
the
a Pole.
English, what are you referring to here?
So Russians, Uzbeks, Persians, Indians, I mean, just non-English people.
I don't know. Is a Russian like a person just born in Russia, or is it? I don't know what that means when you say Russian English. Do you mean people with like citizenships to these countries, or do you mean?
Well, we would be dealing with people who are either here on visas, or if they have dual citizenship, my position is get rid of the dual citizenship.
Okay, so when you say foreigners, you're just referring to people that have dual citizenship.
That's the way you can deal with it. Yes, it would solve all the problems, and then most people would be happy.
Okay.
So we've got Lucy here. Lucy, I'm going to quickly read a few of the super chats because I've been ignoring everyone, and then I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself and who you are. Okay, people I have missed. Oh my goodness, a lot of people actually. Omid Pakbin, that feel when you immigrate to the West to escape Islam only to see your home is being infected with the same ideology. Yeah, not great. Lauren is going full boomer mode from Jeremy S. Yes, I am. Angel Martin says the initial protest was largely due to the officials and press giving no answers at the beginning. This was also a day or two after a massive Patriot rally in London on the 27th. Dashing Rogue, this all started in the 90s with the satanic scriptures. I don't know. Glenn, still appreciate your work. Thank you. Spencer says, Destiny thinks I'm evil. I think he's just wrong. We are not the same. By their fruits ye shall know them. What fruits does Destiny bear? Angel Martin, it would seem this attack on our children was in response to the massive London Patriot rally.
We don't know that. There's no motive.
ever developed constitutionalism, republicanism, or a rule of law? This was a question for Destiny, but he's got a few more here. Destiny, are you being paid by Act Blue? People want to know. Jacob Lowe.
Yes, they deposit $1,000 in my bank account every day. I say something good about Kamala Harris.
Okay, wonderful. This stream is a mess. Love you, Lauren, from Professor Suggan. Destiny is literally a paid actor, from Jacob Lowe again. Hellraiser. Lauren and chat, in regard to migration crime, is there any data on the rate of crime from Rwandan immigrants before mass migration? That would be good to look at for sure. Brewmaster again, we should only accept immigration from nations that share our values and maybe work visas for college students from nations we want to influence. And then Isabella, I did not. Oh, this is about my last video, which I'm just not going to read, but thank you for the super chat. All right, Lucy, thank you for joining the stream. A little bit about yourself. Obviously, we've known each other for years, but the chat may not know.
Yeah, so I work for Tommy. I found myself falling into the Rebel News kind of cycle in
Wait, I'm sorry, just real quick.
2017.
So when you said you work for Tommy, who was that? Tommy Robinson?
Tommy Robinson, sorry. I worked sort of technically for the Rebel, but it was as his support staff with a couple of gay guys, George and Kaylin, who I'm sure Lauren knows. So we fell into that mainly on account of the terror attacks that were happening. I would say that's what brought me into the game. And then working for Tommy just sort of went from one problem to the other. Like, obviously he's got his issues and they started to come out. And then in 2018, we put on a big giant event called the Day for Freedom in Whitehall. And Tommy invited a YouTuber called Ali Dawa, who I'm sure you know. He was there with Mohammed Hijab, who I'm sure some people will recognize that name. And Tommy told me to go and tell them that they weren't invited anymore, and I had to go and tell them to leave. And they got set upon by football hooligans and drunk thugs, basically. I tried to protect them. And then Tommy blamed this on me. And then I've spent the past 6 years being harassed and stalked by his followers and being called a Judas and all this kind of stuff. And now I'm kind of back, finally got some restraining orders, and now feel a little bit less afraid of being on the internet. So I'm kind of here to just kind of push against some of his misinformation, just kind of to exist. Like, I'm not necessarily right or left. I'm just sort of here just trying to correct and just trying to see how things are going. So I think he's being a bit of a warlord, he's kind of warlord posting a lot.
Interesting. Destiny, you were saying she was going to be a hardcore conservative.
Oh, no, yeah, not the Tommy Robinson employee. Of course not. I was completely off. My bad.
Well, no, obviously,
can I ask,
you're a smart guy.
Did you listen to what she just said?
You'll know that I joined BLM first, right? You're a smart guy. You know that I come from BLM and feminist movements, right?
Yes, actually, because being smart means that you know every single random fact about every person on the planet. So I did indeed know that. Thank you for reminding the audience.
You seem to know about me before. Just saying.
People are never allowed to change their opinions. You're only one thing ever. That's a true fact.
I said that as well, I think. Yes, that was a good rebuttal for that thing I definitely just said.
No, I wanted to ask you, Lucy, did you hear the discussion that we had earlier about the role in disinformation in starting the first riot? Did you hear us talking about that?
I didn't hear the full bit, no, sorry.
So basically they were arguing about the role of disinformation in starting the first riot and whether or not people were led to believe or to blame Muslims for the stabbing in Southport, and whether Tommy Robinson's role in that. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, of course
for the first riot?
Yeah, of course he did. It was one of the first thing he tweeted, wasn't it? He was absolutely spreading misinformation, saying that it sounded like, and then this name that apparently translated to some phrase, him
Corridor,
and Katie
something, right?
Something like that. I'm going to my apartment. It was like Ali Al something or other. He was spreading that, and then Katie Hopkins, and then Lawrence Fox, and yeah, I would say that it was definitely like he fueled the flames. And then also it was his guy Danny Tomo that works for him. I think it was kind of my replacement, but he was going on Telegram saying, "Oh, whole cities should be up in flames" and all this kind of stuff. So there's definitely like some fingers to point that way. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I just thought there was a bit of a disagreement on it earlier.
But do you think that this has been one of the big disagreements, Lucy, is the idea that why are people outside of mosque when this was a Rwandan, second generation immigrant who wasn't Muslim? Why? And of course, Callum, Jack, and I are saying this is a culmination of many issues, including the grooming gangs, including the violence that has occurred, the knife crime, the carjackings, whatever, as well as cultural just contentions at the moment, free speech issues. Would you agree that this wasn't just about the stabbing that occurred, but it's been a buildup over years and years of working class people being ignored and slandered?
Well, yeah, I don't think these people care anymore. I don't think they care if it was a Muslim or not. I think they're just going out in the street and they're taking their anger out on the people rather than the politicians, because if you think about it, you've had things like reform, you had the Brexit party, we had the Brexit vote, and then they wanted us to vote again. So we had to fight a second referendum. We've got all these groups that have been and gone. You've got some more hard right groups. You've got some more kind of liberalisty type groups. And the immigration figures, as far as I know, haven't really changed. So there's been a lot of, I think, false promises that have been made. And I think these are the people that just don't care anymore. And I don't think they feel like they have anything left to lose. I think that's the things that you're seeing on the street at the moment. I think it's very sad and very disgusting, but I just don't think they care anymore. And it is gross. And they are going around just punching black people, and it's horrible. But that's the stuff that we were trying to warn about for years could happen if these issues aren't addressed.
Stephen.
Everything Lucy's saying is correct.
Hi.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Oh, excellent.
Any thoughts from anyone else? Want to push back on that? Disagree? This is what inevitably happens when you ignore the wishes of the people, when the people say mass immigration is a crisis, when both left and right agree that immigration numbers are too high, like they do in Canada, and nothing has changed. Do you think that social chaos is the inevitable result, and you had to do something to prevent it beforehand?
It's just
the
right.
Thing is, no,
hold on, no,
result
there is no half right. No, the issue
you
is
know what
that
I'm gonna say, motherfucker.
No, you shouldn't have given him any credit in the beginning. Everything else you're about to say was right, okay? But no, the issue is that you have no actual policy position or actual stance on any of this that anybody cares to actually articulate, because there might be some people that are genuinely frustrated with things in society. Immigration is an easy scapegoat. There might be some people that are genuinely frustrated with immigration because immigration has caused some problems, and there's a whole bunch of people who are just racist. But since nobody actually articulates any real type of policy, you just end up in a Brexit-like situation where people are like, oh yeah, we should Brexit, and then you spend the next years arguing, well, fuck, I don't actually know what that looks like, or I don't know what we should actually fucking do. And it's the same thing with immigration. Even the policy positions that have been articulated here, I'm against mass migration. I don't know why you keep saying that. You're against all immigration. Just say that, like what was said earlier. Say, I'm against all immigration. But people won't say that because it's probably not the actual position.
Against all immigration.
Well, even when you say mass migration, what does mass migration mean?
So look at the graph. So you notice how the graph used to be that we had tens of thousands of people coming, some leaving, and it would hover up and down. And then in 1997, the things changed because we had an enlargement of the European Union. The numbers went up to the hundreds of thousands. People considered this horrific, which is why we ended up with the Brexit referendum. And then they tried to ignore the Brexit referendum. And then eventually Dominic Cummings and Boris Johnson got into power in 2019. And on their campaign promise was get Brexit done. They were very patriotic. It was all about patriotic things and getting immigration sorted out, etc., etc. They won a landslide, not just seats, but votes. And then when they got in, according to Dominic Cummings, he proposed the policy of, hey, let's have a points-based system. We will basically exterminate low-skilled labor coming in because that's not helping anyone. And we're going to try and steal the people who go to Silicon Valley. And
wait, can I ask just a real quick question? For this graph...
I need to finish before you, okay. But I will let you, sorry. So they proposed that. According to Dominic Cummings, Boris said, screw that. They put the point-based system in place, and ever since, the immigration has now massively increased from what was considered unacceptable. That's what we mean by mass immigration, that the pre-1997 levels were perfectly acceptable. People were pretty much happy with it. It wasn't a discussion point that people had in politics. But since things have changed to hundreds of thousands to up to 1 million coming in, not net, but gross, that's unacceptable. And the fact that through that entire period we voted for lower immigration every election in terms of the manifesto claiming that that's what they would do of the party who won is horrific.
It looks
and
like
if you
most
can't
of
vote your way out of this.
Yeah, it looks like most of your migration happened. Like the huge spike was after Brexit.
Yeah, they betrayed us. That's why people are angry.
Wow, the Conservatives messed up and allowed mass migration. This is the first time I'm hearing about
When you say
this.
messed up and allowed mass migration, how do they allow it? What happened?
So they left the European Union in 2019 or 2020. Officially, it finally happened. But they changed the immigration rules, so we now have a point-based system. And you get points for very basic things, such as speaking a simple level of English or having a job that pays well below the average wage. So the ability of people to come here became massively easier, even though this is exactly the opposite of what Boris Johnson was going to implement when he spoke to voters, which is why everyone hates them.
Right, and there are policies that you could implement. The nation of Denmark is actually pretty restrictive on immigration, and they don't have right-wing party uprisings. They don't have riots or anything like that. You have refugees get put in third-party countries while they're being vetted. If your kids are going to school and they're from a foreign country, they have integration programs. And this is one of the reasons why, across the political spectrum, the immigration policies, even though they're criticized by the EU, in Denmark, they're basically, it's like a non-issue. So yeah, there are restrictions that you can implement, like actual tangible policies, and they prevent these right-wing like uprisings, these riots, and all of this stuff, things like Brexit, and that's what people want implemented. Like, you pretend there's no sensible policy on immigration. It exists, it's in Europe, and the people are happy with it. And it's so popular that it's not just the right-wing policies, but parties, it's the left-wing policies that buy into it, because they don't want people coming in and undercutting their union wages or whatever issue that they have that makes them historically against immigration. So yeah, there are definitely things that you can do to improve the situation and not have all this crazy fighting in the streets.
So I'd
be careful with that last claim, with the idea that appeasing anti-immigrant like sentiment is what like makes the violence go away, because you mentioned like 1990s levels, and before that things were even lower. But again, it's not like race riots were a new thing just recently. We used to have this in the 70s with the National Front when immigration wasn't particularly high. It wasn't particularly high in the 80s when we had anti-immigration riots. Even if you look at the UK, I thought until last week, people used to brag about how the UK actually, compared to most European countries, had fairly positive attitudes towards immigration compared to the rest of Europe, right? The most anti-immigrant sentiment in Europe does not come from like France or places like London or whatever. It comes from places like Czechia or Hungary, places that have lower, like barely any immigration, or Finland. So, and that actually did demonstrate itself very well through our election, is that Reform UK, the big anti-immigrant party, they won their 5 seats, 4 of which were won in 94% white plus communities, which is way above the national average. Because this is when you talk about people not being listened to, the thing I get is that I agree that there's problems with abandonment and post-industrialization and working class communities being ignored and all this kind of stuff. That's very real. The problem is that it's not just that. It's that plus, and I'm sure Lucy's mentioned this, is that it's that plus demagogues and people who just lie to them habitually about and exaggerate the effects of immigration that drive them to feel like the effects are so much worse than they actually are. And then that's where you get the rioting coming from. It takes both. It takes a demagogue as well as people having real concerns, which is probably why people who vote for reform in these very, very white communities, they obviously didn't learn about immigration and its effects from their life experiences. They learned about it from the media.
Hang on. I just want to very quickly jump in and just add to end of Sean's point. It was very specifically the Labour Party, the ruling Labour Party in Denmark, who implemented all of these policies that he was talking about. It wasn't just implemented by the Conservatives there and then adapted by Labour. It was the Labour Party in Denmark who actually did all those things. And I will say, in a lot of the just coming up to your point, Learnerbox, a lot of the people who moved to, for example, Clacton, were like the white working class guys who moved out of London because they've seen the problems of mass migration. Like, that's just one other reason. You see a lot of those people in these communities escaped there from London because of it.
Yeah, I just want to add.
What percentage of people from Clacton came from London? I think most people from Clacton were from Clacton.
Oh, obviously, most of them. There were certainly a chunk of them who have moved out of London.
Okay, so I'm just saying
there are a lot of people who are interviewed at the time.
If your hypothesis is that white people in the UK, the more immigration they see, the more anti-immigration they become in their communities, then why are these places with like 10, 15, 20% Muslim communities, why are they not the ones where the white people are coming out in arms and voting like majority for reform?
Well, a lot of them would vote for reform, but then obviously if there's more votes in the demographics, then obviously reform aren't going to win there.
Well, no, it's not more votes. You said that white people who are still the majority in a lot of these places that are maybe like 15, 20% Muslim, or immigrant, which is above the national average. These places are still majority white. Why are the white people in those places not the most incensed ones and the most politically active ones in their constituencies?
Now, bear in mind,
just say it's because there are more Muslims. That's why reform doesn't win. Because they're still the minority.
Yeah, no, obviously, but that's going to have some switch to it. Then you also have, Labour voters who are old Labour voters who would still vote Labour, who want to get the Tories out, but still be concerned about mass migration regardless. As I said, Labour promised to cut migration. So some people who perhaps were previous Labour voters moved the Tories in 2019, but then thought, I'm going to vote Labour again because at least Keir Starmer has promised to cut mass migration. Now, obviously,
Pal, you're not telling me that people voted Labour because they thought at least Keir Starmer will be harsher on immigration than the Conservatives. Keir Starmer wanted to scrap Rwanda on day one, and he did.
Certainly during the election.
No, he wasn't. He said he would scrap Rwanda. That was the first thing he says about immigration is he would scrap Rwanda.
Yes, because Rwanda wasn't working. He said he would cut net migration. That was a policy.
I've pinned it in the chat, so you can go and read it. The issue
Keir Starmer pledges to slash sky-high migration numbers. Read my lips. I will bring immigration numbers down, as he vowed to control our borders. Do you think that sounds like a pro-migration message?
No, I think it sounds like someone who is not going to be believed by someone who is farther right than Labour on immigration. No fucking way. The guy said he wanted to scrap Rwanda because he said it was inhumane and a waste of money, meaning he was okay to let those asylum seekers stay in the UK. His alternative to Rwanda meant those asylum seekers just stay.
Rwanda.
They criticized it because they didn't just abandon the European Court of Human Rights and throw them off anyway into those planes. Keir Starmer wanted to keep them in the country to keep claiming asylum. So Keir Starmer's message was actually, people talk about hotels, Keir Starmer's message was keep them in the hotels and keep processing them. You think a right-winger whose center's position is anti-immigration would vote for that?
No. I'm not talking about
or even a left-winger who's anti-immigration.
I'm talking about a relatively ordinary person who's maybe not that fully connected into politics and sees Keir Starmer again pledging to cut migration, as every party has done since 1997.
Why is the left-wing candidate even saying that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he said he wanted to. Sorry to interject. He said that he wanted to spend money to target migration at the root. So he wanted to get to. Didn't he want to send a bunch of money to these countries where this is happening anyway and stop the human traffickers and kind of deal with it so that they're not dealing with it in the hotels? You're dealing with it at the source. That was his argument. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, he wanted to target the smugglers. Yeah, but as far as asylum seekers who come here, he wants to process them. Yeah.
But his entire message is reduce migration.
No one in this country can run on the platform of if things are going well with migration and we should increase it. That is not the position of anyone. Even the left-wing candidate knows he has to go out and say, yeah, this is crazy, we need to lower the numbers.
Yeah, I'm sure he said that, but the problem is I don't know what. So you say that immigration is
reform also criticized the Rwanda policy.
Yeah, I know, because reform wants to just deport them straight back to France, even though there's no guarantee or there's no sign France would ever take them, right? Especially, yeah. But again, with Keir Starmer, yeah, he's maybe saying he wants to lower immigration. I don't doubt that. But this is why we have a party political system, right? This is why people vote not just on single issues, but for parties. And it seems to be that even if people saw immigration as one of the issues, they were still happy to vote for a party that they probably find far less trustworthy to follow through on reducing immigration than someone like Reform. I'm sure you agree with that.
You're just babbling. People want immigration lower, end of.
Okay. Yeah,
frankly, the rest of this is cope.
On it. You could read his quotes. It says he wants to slash sky-high immigration, that 685,000 has got to come down, and controlling our borders, make sure British businesses are helped to hire Brits first.
No, but I'm just saying, and you all understand this, is someone who has immigration as their first and foremost policy is never going to vote for this, because coming down from 685,000, yeah, it's because 685,000 was unusually high, in large part because of Ukrainians coming. Yeah.
How many Ukrainians?
Hang on. So you don't think hundreds of thousands a year net and more than that gross is not still high?
Wait, he vowed to control our borders and make sure British businesses are helped to hire Brits first. Why would he want to do that? Why would he want to vow to control our borders?
I don't deny he said that.
It's because it's broadly popular across the spectrum.
Well, I'm just saying, if you actually look at the immigration numbers, I'm curious why they spiked in 2020. It seems like a lot of the people coming in are working.
Because the law changed. So we went from the system we had before to the points-based system. This was advertised on the basis that Australia does it. They seem pretty good. Let's do that. Except they didn't take into account, obviously, you need to then address the points to what you want. So Dominic Cummings says that his proposal was we have massive amounts of high-skilled labor, we steal them from the United States because they're all going there, and we just exterminate people who can barely speak English, come from places in the world where they have fucked up ideas about running society. And
wait, hold on. So just focusing on the work thing. It seems like the people are coming to the country to work.
Hang on. Hang on. Well, see, a lot of this isn't being shown by the data in that people will come on work visas and then bring their families with them as well. So, for example, you've seen they've been bringing people to work in social care in the NHS. They can bring their families with them. Another thing that I think which has spiked in recent years, which may even only be in the past couple of years, so I'm not sure if it's in that data.
Let me finish this.
Students who's coming over and bringing their families as well.
Okay,
students coming over for a course and bringing their families, which seems insane to me.
I'm not sure how insane that is, but like, is there a possibility that, especially post-Brexit, that the UK needs these workers, like, to keep their economy running?
Absolutely not.
Then okay, so then if I were to look up, so if that's the biggest cope in history, if I were to look up unemployment in the UK right now, would I see this number at like 7, 8, 9%? Are there a ton of unemployed like British citizens that can't find work?
I can tell you something that like immigration has not helped the UK economy. It's only harmed it.
Really? By what metric?
One of the funniest things that
No, wait, let him answer that. By what unemployment? Or by
I'm
what
going
metric?
to tell you.
Okay, just as a real quick, I looked at it. In 2024, unemployment in the UK was 3.8%. The lowest rate since 1974. So you're below what you're probably natural rate of unemployment.
And then if you break it down by ethnicity, it gets even more fun. Anyway,
yeah. So and especially if you look down at people who've come to the country and you look at those who actually are active in work of terms of first generation immigrants, most of them are not active in work. They're not actively employed.
Well, then how are they getting work visas?
I mentioned this earlier in the stream. 50% of social housing in London.
How are they not getting
some of the most?
How are they getting work visas? If they're not working.
So if me as a man, I apply for a work visa, I get one. I can then bring my family, and my family don't have to work. So for example, if you look in the Bangladeshi community, it's over 50% of them are not economically active, is the phraseology we use. And that's because, well, why would you? You don't need to. You're Bangladeshi, for Christ's sake.
Just so you guys know, that by 2022, the unemployment rate for migrants, including EU, is 5%, and for non-EU is 6%. It's still not exactly like much higher than the national average. But why do you think that immigration harms the economy overall? Why do you say that?
Oh, so one of the fun things that happened during COVID is what I was going to say, is the truck drivers, for example, one of their main complaints during the Brexit referendum is their wages are suppressed by immigration from Eastern Europe. And as we expanded to Romania and Bulgaria, we would get Romanian and Bulgarian truck drivers. They would bring the wages down even lower because you get paid bugger all to be a Romanian truck driver, but you can still drive trucks in the UK, so why not move? And they did. So during the COVID pandemic, when immigration falls through the floor for 1 year because, well, people couldn't move around, truck drivers' pay went through the bloody roof. It's a very real thing you can see, that when we limit immigration, wages go up for the natives because the company doesn't really have a choice. They've got to pay the people they have.
Sure, but also the cost of like all of your goods and services also go up, right?
It does, but if everyone's getting a massive pay raise...
Not everybody's getting a massive pay raise. Just the truck drivers are getting a pay raise. That's how that works, right?
Yeah, because they had to spend so much more time fucking stranded between the borders because of the checks and balances after Brexit, yeah.
Wait, you do understand that if wages in one sector go up because the cost of doing business there is higher and that everybody in society has to pay more for stuff that gets delivered by trucks, not everybody in society wins there. Most people are losing. The winners are just the people driving the trucks.
Exactly. Not everyone in society wins. So who loses? Well, it's not the people who have to compete for migrant labor. It's the people right at the top that don't have to compete. They lose.
No,
which, to be honest,
the losers when you have to pay more to deliver materials on trucks are going to be every single person that buys anything that comes off a truck. Your winners are going to be your people that are driving the trucks.
No, the people who have to compete with migrant labor no longer have to compete. They win.
Yes,
the ones
they win.
Who don't have to compete with migrant labor.
No, wait. It's not about don't have to compete. It's about if you buy. Hold on. This is child math. If you pay a truck driver more, you have to pay to ship the products more, meaning you have to charge the customer for the products more. Do you understand that? Okay.
Which is why, because we haven't been doing this, that's why all the people who've been rioting have been so economically fulfilled. They're all having great jobs and lives because of this mass immigration.
I never said any of that. Yeah, you just conflated. I'm just. Do you understand? Hold on. I'm just trying to say we understand a really basic truth. If you increase the cost of transporting goods, people are going to have to pay more for goods. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So when we say that we want to increase the wages of truck drivers, then that's a class of people that wins. The losing part of that equation is going to be every single person that buys things that comes off of trucks. You understand that, right?
Not quite. You're missing one aspect.
No. Hold on. Can we understand? Do we really not get that?
You're missing one aspect, Destiny. The people who are competing for migrant labor are not just truck drivers. The vast majority of the British workforce has to compete with migrant labor. So they would be much better off, even with the increasing cost for transportation being passed on to the increased cost of goods. The people who don't have to compete with migrant labor, those at the top, they would lose out a little bit.
Okay. You understand that when you're talking right now about using protectionist policies to protect jobs because of the magical wage or whatever this like fantastic autarky take is, you know that no economist anywhere ever will ever agree with that take, right? You know that you're just wrong there, right? That when you're talking about protecting your economy and increasing the cost of goods and services to everybody, that whatever wage bump you might see because now some jobs aren't as competed against migrants or whatever, like all of society is paying more, right?
I've got to put you on that. Consider that the money these migrants are making is often getting sent home as well.
Sent back home as well to remittances. Sorry, it is insane to say that it is somehow protectionism to not be in favor of mass migration.
No, why do you keep saying mass migration like it's a buzzword that you're like coming in your pants? Right? Stop saying mass migration. No one's talking about mass migration. I'm talking about basic economic fact that if you bring in workers, okay, to compete with somebody, right, that the wages of those people do indeed go down because you've got a greater supply of workers, sure, but the cost of all those goods and services also go down, right? And if you protect those jobs by having it so you reduce the supply of labor there, that those people will make more money. That is true. But also the cost of goods and services goes up for everybody as well. That's associated with buying things from those people. That's true. This is not like contested. Nothing I'm saying is debating here. This isn't like a contested fact.
Let Sean speak. Let Sean speak, please. Loner, you spoke a lot.
Steven's saying that there's a concentrated benefit for the truckers and a dispersed cost paid by broader society and increased prices.
Yes.
These guys don't care about that. They're willing to pay higher prices in order to not have migrants undercut the wages of the truckers.
As much as I appreciate you trying to carry water for racists, you're dead fucking wrong, Sean, because that would be an honest position at least. If you were to say, listen, this is an honest position. If you want to be honest, you would say, I understand that things are going to cost more. That's fine. I think that protecting our native population is worth it, and I'm willing to work an extra hour or whatever I need to do in order to ensure that I'm paying enough to support local workers. That'd be fine. But that's not what the position they want to take, because they've got to sell the lie to other sides too that aren't bought into the racial shit, right? And they have to say, well, actually, if you protect jobs and reduce one of the most important economic inputs to your entire workforce, actually it helps everybody. Like everybody pays less and everybody gets paid more. It's magic.
Sorry, let me just jump in here, Callum. Why do you think Canada's housing prices are so high in places like Vancouver right now? What do you think's going on there?
Probably because there's a lot of people trying to move to not as many places.
So do you think that perhaps having to pay $2,000 more in rent might be a little more concerning to people's wallets than getting $1 off their Tim Hortons coffee?
It's also not just truck drivers.
You know that
it's way more complex. Like there are so many other factors.
When you say it's way more complex, you understand like the cost of rent can also be influenced by like migrant workers that do construction. Like yes, it is more complicated. I understand that, but as a general rule of thumb, when you bring in more labor, your economy grows, whether you like it or not. And there could be reasons to be opposed to it. That's fine. But the idea that if you bring in more labor, it's going to shrink your economy, like it just doesn't even make sense. It's like outright, like on its face, it's absurd.
I think maybe it's not a cultural thing then.
That's fine. That's an honest answer, at least. Yeah.
It's more than just. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just saying FGM isn't like a very British pastime. Put it that way.
Do you guys still cut baby boy dicks?
Not recently.
We don't do it in the UK.
No,
we're not weird.
That's good.
Yeah.
Literally no one does it, but you guys are the
Steven, why is it always these gotchas rather than acknowledging like, whoa, you're right, FGM, that's not something you guys want in the UK. I get that. Why is it always, you cut baby boy dicks? Like no one's for that here.
I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know how much FGM happens in the UK. Obviously, I'm opposed to it. But the running from the economy to FGM, is this like a prevalent problem in the United Kingdom right now? Like,
I kind of want to back up Lucy there. Which is that, you know, like if immigration makes the economy better, not saying it does, if that's hypothetical, however, but you get all this negative stuff from it, like FGM Lucy brought up, is that worth another couple points on the GDP axis?
It's not about. Hold on. You can't even. You can't even.
Lives are materially less.
You're coming so hard in your pants about destroying brown immigrants. You can't even engage with the question honestly. Nobody is talking about a couple points on the GDP. You are making life harder for every single person in your country when you enact protectionist policies. But you can have the honest conversation. If you want to be honest about it, you can say there are good reasons why you should protect an economy. Maybe you're importing bad cultural elements that you don't want. Maybe you think that. Maybe you think. Maybe. Yeah, good for you. Maybe there are reasons why you want to prevent certain groups of people from coming to your country. That's fine, but just be honest about it. And don't pretend like you're going to win in every single area like a liar. Just be honest about the sacrifice that you're making to have this thing happen.
I will. I'm right all the time. That's true.
Destiny, this is why I find you so annoying, to be frank, because I was explaining truck drivers are not the only people that have to compete with migrant labor. The vast majority of the public have to compete with migrant labor. I explained it 3 times. You didn't engage.
I can engage.
A gotcha of do you chop baby boy dicks off? We're England. We never chop baby boy dicks
off. The baby
off.
boy dick comment, do you acknowledge that was in response to somebody else bringing up female genital mutilation first?
The fact is, you're
no. Do you acknowledge it was about somebody bringing up female genital mutilation first? Do you acknowledge that?
The point in my argument is that you're not serious with these issues.
Okay, well, if you want someone to engage with the truck drivers thing, I feel like there's a reason you guys like to bring up these anecdotes is because people do studies on this. Even Boris Johnson commissioned a study on immigration and wage suppression. And what they found was that any impact of wage suppression caused by immigration was short-term and negligible. Because as well as that, it's not even because of all the reasons Destiny mentioned about how it also lowers the price of goods because you bring in new workers, you don't want to do the lump of labor fallacy. But then also, Lauren, I know you said that anecdote about people moving money away from the country, but the fact is migrants also pay taxes, and we still know that the amount they pay in taxes exceeds the amount that they take out. And we know we just had the biggest year by far of net migration, and real wages went up the year after. They've been going up since like the beginning of this year. So,
but once again, it doesn't matter if the wages are going up, even if that's with inflation. I don't know about
from
that.
ONS. Why are you saying why are you saying it up?
Sorry, just let me finish. When it comes to things like rent, which in my lived experience, since leftists super care about that, everyone around me cannot afford rent because of mass immigration. It doesn't matter if wages have gone up.
Just definitionally, that's not true. You understand that's not true. Everybody around you can afford rent. That's why the prices are going up, right? If nobody can afford it, then the price wouldn't be going up. The price, it's what the market can bear.
What is going on is they are getting smaller and smaller places. They are living with 2 or 3 people. Never would have done that before. Or I have people that literally don't have a home and are living in people's backyards and trailers. Multiple families I know with children at the moment.
Then tell them to go to different cities. They don't have to live in the 3 cities in Canada. There's more places than just Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver.
Prices are going up across the country. And then once again, it is not... Sorry, let me finish. I've let everyone speak a lot. It's not just housing. It is not just wages. It's not even just culture. It is infrastructure. You can look this up. Canadian hospitals, more overwhelmed than ever. No one can get a doctor. There are too many people and the infrastructure has not caught up. It is the roads. No one can drive in cities like Vancouver anymore. It is unlivable. So when Jack says, yeah, people are willing to give up maybe a few dollars off on their products. They're willing to pay a little more for
It's not a few dollars off or a little more. It's going to be every single thing you buy. And it does matter because when you phrase it like, oh, it's just $1 at Tim Hortons.
I would rather pay more for everything and be able to go to a beach without people taking craps on it, be able to drive through my city without it taking 4 hours, be able to get a doctor, be able to get a house. Yeah, I would pay more for everything for that.
Can you point me one like anti-immigrant fucking country that's like doing really well with these policies? Like who's our model here?
Australia, they do a lot better with their immigration policies, and their healthcare system is significantly better. I know because I lived there and I lived in Canada. Very similar systems. One is not overwhelmed by migration. One is.
So what metric are we looking at? So what metric are we looking at for Australia here? That like give me a couple of metrics and I'll go look it up. They're outperforming like the rest of the world so much.
I just said the healthcare system.
Okay, so if I look at like healthcare outcomes in like Australia, they're going to be better than Canada.
Perhaps I know because I've used the system.
Just to be clear, for healthcare, even Reform UK admitted that for immigration, that's the one place where Britain needs immigration according to them. So even for them, they said that the healthcare system was their exception.
They're wrong.
No, they don't, because immigrants are a drain on the NHS. And it's the classic thing of bringing in workers because, you don't have enough people here. One, we should pay doctors more. Like the junior doctors are striking because the government can't afford to pay them more because that's the state of the NHS to begin with. But then, you're bringing like a couple nurses here, a couple doctors there. Well, it's foreign doctors have been far more likely to actually cause injuries and death to patients. If you look at the medical malpractice rates for foreign doctors, far higher. And then, as Callum mentioned earlier, it's the same with the work visas. These people, one person will come in on a work visa, and they'll bring in their wife or their husband, their parents, their children, and that's then because you've got then 10 more people in the country based on work visa. The NHS is under even more pressure. So I'm going to say Reform are on that. Reform aren't this god of the right wing that we have to listen to them all the time, and they're totally correct.
Yeah, I understand you guys are more probably extreme than Reform, and I'm prepared to listen, but all I'm having right now is I keep mentioning that, like, according to the data, that immigrants actually are bigger net tax contributors than natives are, and also that real wages have been rising this year, even though net migration was the highest it's ever been the last year. But all I'm hearing is, like, Callum in the corner going, no, that's not.
Send that data to the chat?
Sorry, again, actually,
the other one.
So I've got this here. But you can actually look at this at like employment rate of country of birth. It's only when people are coming in here, they're coming from the USA, Australia, Canada, Israel. Those are the top 4 countries who are then net contributors to the UK. And it's Singapore, New Zealand, and France. If you want to look at economic inactivities, like the people who are coming to this country, first generation immigrants mostly from all across the third world, they are not being economically productive citizens. So the ones who are economically productive are coming from other first world countries, and then a lot of them will stay here for a bit and then go home.
Wait. When you're saying immigrants are coming working and they're not economically productive?
No, the idea
because
that they're net contributors is a deceptive stat. Some immigrants contribute grossly more than others, but that doesn't mean that all immigrants overall are net contributors. It's like when they say, like, the founder of this many Fortune 500 companies are foreign born. That doesn't mean that from any random country you're going to get a founder. It means that they're from India, they're I think Sephardic Jews.
Like, you can see this here.
And they're one other group. Like, that's it. That represents almost all the
for the economic activity rate of Bangladeshis who are not born in the UK, 50% of them who are in the UK are economically inactive.
Link me where you're reading this. Also, wait, hold on, real quick. Am I misunderstanding?
Sources from the ONS census.
Then link it.
A lot of these charts have been put together by Neil O'Brien.
Okay, that's great. But link me the thing.
Who is an MP?
Am I misunderstanding this? When I look at this, does Australia have? Is this like? I'm seeing temporary visa holders, but does Australia have way more immigration than Britain, or am I not understanding this?
Australia?
Yeah, they have really high immigration. They're really upset about it as well.
Wait, why didn't you mention something when Lauren cited Australia as outperforming Canada in their healthcare system then? Because they have less immigrants.
We have some of the highest rates. We have some of the highest rates of. So the types of immigrants to Australia are very different. The English tests are much harder to get into Australia than they are to get into Canada. In fact, people who fail the English tests to get into Australia tend to go to Canada as their second option.
Okay, wait. So I'm just curious. Who do you guys think the highest? Who do you guys think the highest consumers of healthcare are in a country?
Probably the elderly.
That's. Yeah, true. In the UK, what your median ages or your mean ages or your number of elderly people, what communities are at highest in? Like, are we implying earlier? It's not like you're implying that like immigrants are consuming more healthcare than your native population of like old people.
Yeah, because they're bringing in the elderly grandparents on work visas.
That's actually true.
Okay, can you show me that anywhere? Like.
Yeah, I've just sent you a link to a thread and a link to a report from the Centre for Policy Studies, which written by former Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick, former Minister Neil O'Brien, and their research director Carl Williams. If you look in the thread that I've linked, there is a number of very concerning statistics on immigration, and these were all taken from the Office of National Statistics, which is the official government one, and the census. So you can also see, for example, that GDP per capita and net migration, GDP per capita has gone down as net migration has gone up.
Also, when you look at the chart that you sent over, the overwhelming majority of them are temporary visa holders. The permanent visa holders is actually down. So those are the people that are actually staying.
Yeah, but I don't know for the UK stuff. I don't know for those net flows. I don't know if those are including visa holders or not as well. I'm not sure. I don't know how they measure it.
Okay,
but I'm just saying from your
I can say one negative thing.
Most of them are going to go back because there's very few permanent ones in there, and that's actually decreased.
Okay, Lucy?
Did you know that rickets are back? We've got rickets and loads of Victorian diseases now, and mainly in East London, and it's apparently due to vitamin D deficiency from people that are wearing clothes that aren't letting them get enough vitamin D. Apparently there was a mass outbreak in Whitechapel Hospital. and people weren't able to treat patients, and it's just a massive recurring problem. And
Well, is the point
you
of
know,
wearing the clothes?
like there's
so
one
you don't
example.
catch the D?
Wait, what is the? Can you draw the? Can you link all those up for me? What are we talking about?
You can't make the link yourself?
Like, I'm just saying, like, okay, so, right. My friend went to Whitechapel Hospital with a horrible thing going on, and they said because of the women, Whitechapel is a very Muslim area of East London. It's got the mosque. I think Lauren went there, and you were like filming an interview there.
Called the police on me, yeah.
I lived there, but yeah, apparently rickets. There was a rickets outbreak, and like loads of Victorian diseases. You can have a look online, but like because of women covered up, and they weren't getting enough vitamin D and stuff like that. So there's like one issue that like we could probably do without, but we have it now. I know it's not like it doesn't like not try to tar all immigrants with the same brush or anything, but I'm just saying that's one issue.
No, I don't. Listen, I was in London very recently, and I saw more people in hijabs and niqabs than in any Muslim neighborhood in the United States of America. Totally taken over that. And if you want to help get Muslim women D, then I guess, you know what, Londoners, you got to sign up for that and get them that.
I'd really like them to have the freedom to not wear that if they choose to. That's all I can really say about that. I just think it's a bit draconian that we've been put in this position. But there's been plenty of people.
Hold on, I'm not a big Muslim expert here. Do kids wear burqas? I thought it was only like adult or older women. Mm-hmm. Some do. Hold on, you just said wait. Hold on, wait. You said nothing. Definitionally, okay. Is it like the majority? Is it expected? What?
What is a kid?
I don't know. I'm trying to find information about the rickets stuff, and I'm seeing that in almost every case it's saying here, I'm reading this, almost all of these cases of people having rickets are young children. This sounds like a food problem more than a burqa problem. I don't think young children wear burqas, but I could be wrong, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
They do. I live in an area where I see it every day. I would hazard a guess that the doctor said it to my friend. I don't think the media would want to publish that. You know, so like the doctor at the hospital said it. I don't think the media. I think they would find that inflammatory to publish that. Obviously.
So this is why I asked, what is a kid? Because in Islamic interpretations, a kid is 9 years old or lower, not 18. This is why they have to cover up, because they're sexual objects at that point.
So they usually don't wear headscarves until they're like 14 or 15. But okay.
In some places, yes.
There are children as young as that.
It's usually the trend. Yeah.
More power to them, but yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that maybe there's a link there, maybe not. I don't know. But there's going to be problems, is all I'm saying, and some of them invisible and some of them underreported. You know, and it's the people on the street, I think, that we're seeing rioting that probably know a little bit more about this than maybe we do. You know, they are from areas where apparently it's, maybe I'm wrong, but apparently they're from areas that are very multicultural. Maybe that's why they're rioting. I don't know.
Yeah, but they're also getting a bunch of fucking bullshit rammed down their throats from Tommy Robinson. Like he's literally lying about every other event that's happening right now.
I want to see the burqa women get rickets. I'm trying to find. I want to see this. Now I'm curious about this.
She said it's not in the press.
Well, then how would she know?
Guys, I'm going to do 10 more minutes just because I think Callum, Lonerbox, and Jack, you guys have had the most talking. We haven't heard much from Lucy and Sean, and I'm sure they have some debate points with Destiny, and then I'll probably end with just chatting with Lucy since she was here for the least amount of time. But I will start with a few super chats. Sorry, gotta include the chat in this. Actually, there's a few questions for people as well. Nigeria has more British values than Germany, says Kancha. Max McDonald says, for everyone, why do you think nation states were formed in the first place and held together so long? It seems most of human history was nation states and not what we have now. Sorry, I got to get through these, so a few of them I'll stop. But Kyle Vernon says, can you ask Shitlib Destiny the difference between nationality and ethnicity? Does he understand that English is an ethnicity? Do you understand that, Stephen?
I don't think you guys, I have no idea. Listen, however you guys define it is fine, but I hear everybody use these words differently, so that's the only reason I ask.
Bonkman, why can't you guys stop being politically correct and just say you want a Muslim ban? They all need to go. Brewmaster, I support a ban on all immigration from all societies that don't share our values, and not racist because I know we would be weak to ethnically targeted bioweapon if we were an ethno-state. Kenzie Kraken, Lucy, was Tommy's speaking tour in Canada arranged by Rebel for the purpose of raising Tommy's profile and the Save Tommy donations? Is he an addict? Lucy? Oh, do we have Lucy here still?
Sorry, my internet went funny. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I put Burka Ricketts in chat, by the way. What was it? Something about Tommy's.
They asked if his speaking tour was arranged by Rebel for the purpose of raising his profile and the Save Tommy donations.
I don't think it was to do with raising, like, for donations. I think everything he does, I mean, it's his job. Everything he does is to raise his profile. But yes, I think he's an addict. I think I'm not happy about it. I hope he gets clean. And it just seems like a lot of bad mistakes he makes in a not sober state. That's what I would say about that. But no, I think that, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, obviously, Beth Nodwell, I don't know if you saw that viral clip of her talking about her big night out with Tommy and how awful, like, he was behaving and da-da-da-da. But it's a hard one. It's a hard one, to be honest. I've just seen a lot of dodginess there that I don't know if it's just greed and power that's got to his head. I don't know.
Also, just as a quick thing, this is a 2012 article, but okay.
Gelfling. If you want to understand the UK's current situation, you need to understand the failure of multiculturalism and social integration. Every day, we built the greatest empire the world has ever seen whilst exporting people. Kyle Vernon, lower wages doesn't mean lower priced goods. Prices haven't gone down one bit. Big corporations eat the profits from lower wages and GDP growth. Elijah Borges, question, is it not understandable to concentrate some derision towards Islam post-stabbings given the unalive the infidel influence it yields? I think the argument here is that this guy wasn't necessarily following that doctrine, so that's the debate going on. Jeremy, hey Lauren, out of curiosity, because you actually lived in Australia, do you think that Australia's healthcare is better than the US? Yeah, I do. They had a pretty good healthcare system, to be honest. Although there's been times where I've gone across the border to the US for healthcare because the timeline would have been ages to wait in Canada. The system's way too backed up. It's very broken here. Okay. Super chats are done. Like I said, 10 more minutes with everyone here, and then Callum, Lonerbox, Jack, I will give you guys a chance to say goodbye. Are there any thoughts you want to bring up that you feel have been, is anyone here you like, there's a big issue that has not been talked about yet that I really need to discuss?
I mean, it would have been awesome to talk more about the UK riots rather than weird hypotheticals and factoids or whatever, but that seemed like the direction I was going
at the moment,
in.
it's Plymouth Birmingham that's going on.
Yeah, I saw a pub being invaded.
Plymouth and Birmingham. So Birmingham, I think you've got Muslims in the street going around looking for EDL people or whoever, and in Plymouth you had right wing versus left wing, and then from what I saw, it was still going on 5 minutes ago. But I don't know how violent. If you could send
me any videos of that, I'll bring them up on screen and we can talk about that, because I actually would like to bring this conversation to the initial debate that we were having on Twitter, Stephen, which was the comparison between the BLM and the UK riots. And I mean, everyone here that is more against the mass immigration policy has been asked to condemn the violence. They've been asked to say people shouldn't be doing this. They've been, you've had the leader of the UK come out and say he's going to be just totally cracking down on anyone supporting this, even online. Do you, at least, Lonerbox and Destiny, do you see the bias coming from the leader of the UK? We played a video earlier on the stream where there was his reaction to the BLM riots where many people died, but he was saying these were legitimate grievances people had. He was saying, quoting MLK, giving his support to BLM rioters, versus these riots going on in the UK. He's come out and said they're all essentially bigots that will go to jail and will regret their decision to riot. Why do you agree that there's a bit of a two-tier justice system? Bit of hypocrisy going on there?
I think if you just watched those two clips and assumed he was only talking about the BLM riots and didn't know anything about Keir Starmer's past, you would think it's a double standard. In the 2011 London riots, which mostly featured left-wingers and a disproportionate level of minorities, Keir Starmer was the director of public prosecutions. He kept the courts open 24 hours a day. He allowed magistrates to pass longer and tougher sentences to set an example. Exactly what he's doing now. The whole idea was get them sentenced as quickly as possible so that everyone else knows, oh, fuck, that person I rioted with last night, they just went down. I'm not going again. Yeah, this guy, and on BLM in the UK when that happened, even though the rioting in BLM in the UK was people defacing a few statues and throwing one in the river for the most part, the first 6 days of this have exceeded basically on any of the violence of BLM in the UK. Keir Starmer, they didn't like him because he said that defund the police was a nonsense demand. And he also challenged the people who threw Edward Colston's statue in the river, even though they were later acquitted by a jury of their peers. So yeah, Keir Keir Starmer has always been, he's a prosecutor. He's always been a very centrist when it comes to like law and justice and all that shit. So yeah, I don't know. That clip is kind of a little bit misleading on its own.
Okay, there actually is a bit of rioting going on right now, so I'm gonna bring up the video and just play it in the background while you guys chat. Steven, did you have any thoughts on that?
I don't know what statements he said about BLM or what statements he said about the UK riots, so I can't speak to any of that. I have no idea what he said.
Which one's your favorite?
Of what?
I'm joking. Sorry.
Oh, for the riot. I mean, I thought most of the BLM riot shit was retarded, but I think it's just funny that everybody likes to support their riots because their riots are always based and awesome, and the other people's riots are fake and gay. So I just think it's interesting to me.
Black Lives Matter or White Lives Matter? Who wins?
I'm not sure. Considering most people that post White Lives Matters are probably 35 years old, living in their parents' basement, probably the BLM people, because they've got the warrior genes, right? So I probably have to throw my lot in with them.
I just want to say, watching those scenes of Muslims and anti-immigrant people throwing bottles at each other from a police fucking barrier between them just gave a really like a good old firm reminiscence. I think it's maybe a really good example of integration that Muslims have discovered football violence in the UK.
They're also giving each other Nazi salutes, which is quite nice.
I've just had a
Maybe
message
that'll be a
from
shared
someone.
interest.
I just had a message from someone who has a partner that works in a hospital, and they said apparently rickets is like a really well-known hush-hush thing within the Bangladeshi and Pakistani community. Apparently it's all just, they just know it, but they can't really say it. So there you go.
Oh, well,
Maybe
fuck, if we got a DM from somebody, yeah. Wait, rickets, is that, can you infect other people with rickets?
One of my friends
Is that
is a medical student in Whitechapel, and she said that's bullshit, so fuck.
I just got 3 DMs from different doctors saying, yeah, actually, Burqa supercharged the vitamin D in your body by concentrating all of it.
Whitechapel Medical School. I'm going to ask her. Hang on.
I'll have to wear a burqa for a year and do a test.
I'm glad everyone's getting along so well.
Yeah, sorry for being short, Destiny.
I just kind of want to add, just speaking about the BLM riots, I saw the same thing in 2020 when there were BLM riots here. Of course, to be honest, why? Because the police, there's barely any police violence that goes in the UK. We don't even carry guns. But it was the same level of two-tier policing that I've seen compared to the violence, the riots we saw in Leeds and Hare Hills just a couple of weeks ago, where the police just certainly weren't present. And then opposed to the riots we've seen this week, where the riot police came up. It was the same in 2020. The police were kneeling for BLM protesters in London, when the next week people came out on the Save Our Statues protest because they're being defaced in Westminster Square. The riot police were out there already with bats, and they were just whacking people over the head. I saw noses covered in blood, on pretty much, again, a much more peaceful protest than the BLM was just 1 week before. So this two-tier policing, two-tier care, very fitting name for the new PM, has been going on for a while, especially when it comes to
what was the extent for the biggest of the BLM protests in the UK? What was the largest one? What was like the most damage caused or the most people killed?
Well, I mean, we didn't really have riots at all. They were protests, but
if they were just BLM, protests, what would you be arresting people for?
I saw BLM people just absolutely beat the living daylights of people who they suspected were EDL. I saw one guy get his face absolutely bashed in front of him by a Waterloo station in June 2020. He was just completely innocent.
That's fine, but you're saying that there were no riots; there were just protests. What would the police be there for?
No, but because the police are always in London at protests, the police are pretty much always there to control it, as Lucy would well know.
Yeah, but if there was no violence, these weren't riots. What I don't understand. Tell
you what the problem was. I'll tell you what the problem was. It says that the biggest one was around the 6th of June. There was quite a few by the looks of it. If you look, there's like a whole Wikipedia page. But I remember the issue was with it. They were big. I got caught in one in the car. It was weird. But it was during COVID. That was the thing that really annoyed everyone because it happened during COVID. So they marched to the US Embassy, I think. And they were like, oh, lockdown rules apply for thee, but not for me.
Wait, but so, okay, wait. So I'm looking at this. So I'm looking at this Wikipedia thing. It seems like people were arrested, though. So doesn't that mean the cops were there?
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
No, it said the police were there compared to what I saw on the roundup, but there were the policing was far heavier at the sort of anti-BLM counter protest that was the week afterwards.
Well, were there more people arrested in those things? Because I see, 14 police officers were injured during the clashes and 14 protesters were arrested. Are you saying there were counter protests where like hundreds of people were arrested, or 50 people were arrested, or which big counter protest?
It was the attitude of the police, but you can see that again, as I said, the riots in Hare Hills.
Gotcha. So just to be clear, we went from there were no police at the BLM things to now there were police. Now the police arrested more people. So we went from there were no police there, and now there were a lot of police there. Now it was just the attitude of the police. Okay, thank you.
The police were kneeling at the BLM protests in London. They weren't doing that.
They were kneeling when they arrested 14 people?
No.
It says there were clashes between the police and the protesters. Were they kneeling at the clashes? Did they fight on their knees, or what?
No, some of them, but obviously, as I said, it was a difference in policing.
Yeah,
it was immediately versus reacting to violence from BLM. But obviously, both ways. Like the riots that we're seeing right now are in no way comparable to either side of the protests in 2020. But what the riots right now are comparable to was the riots in Leeds and Hare Hills just a couple of weeks ago, where the police weren't even present one bit. The police turned up and then they ran away. When right now, at all of these riots, the police have been very present, as they should be, to control law and order.
How do you spell Leader Hill? What are these riots about?
Comparison.
It was a Romani person, father, had tried to have their child removed there was alleged child abuse.
No, I'm asking how do you spell it? I just want to look them up. I would never trust your summary of this event.
Oh, sorry, Leeds. So it's Leeds, and then it was in Hare Hills.
I don't know.
Specifically in Leeds. Hare has in the animals.
Leeds. I don't know how
27 were arrested in Hare Hill. That's about the same number as people.
Nope. I found it. Don't worry. Okay, so
27 arrested in Hare Hill.
You're welcome. I'm glad I can help you spell Leeds.
I got it.
Yeah, there were 27 arrests in Hare Hill. That's about the same as each town that's been hit here, right? Again, if you want a good analogy, 2011 riots. I know the reason you guys don't want to go to that one is because in 2011 riots, which were about comparable to these ones in terms of concentration of violence, London was actually more. But when that happened, Keir Starmer, the prosecutor, rammed his fucking brick-shaped knob through all those protesters like a fucking like a cop, like someone who's law and order. Yeah.
Was that before
he should have done?
Was that when what was his job before, like a judge or something?
He was director of prosecutions when he did that in 2011.
Wait, how many people have been arrested in the current riots right now?
400 or 500.
Okay. So I looked at the Leeds thing, so I don't know how big the Leeds riot was, but apparently 27 people were arrested in connection with the Leeds thing. So
it was only one night. It was only one night and in one city.
Okay, so there were people that were arrested there.
10, 20 people arrested as well. Yeah. Some of them are like less than 10 arrested for these ones.
I'm sorry, guys. I've got the Plymouth video playing for people watching, and this guy that just got Plymouth.
Lauren, we've all so many places, and you need to know their names specifically, even though they're not pronounced how they're spelled at all.
I don't pronounce
we will make fun of
Canada
you.
Right? I pronounce it anyway. Some old dude, he got hit by a police shield, and I gotta ask the chat. Like, he absolutely faked that fall. There's no way. Look at this. Well, please. Okay, he's either drunk or he's faking that fall. Chat, I need a second opinion.
Chat, is this real?
Chat, is this real? Look at this guy. Okay, wait, watch this.
Let's see.
Watch. Okay, police shields. You guys, if you watch my stream in real time, is he just drunk, or did he completely like soccer fake that fall? And then he has a bunch of people surround him and try to pick him up.
I'm just waiting for the late stream to kick in so I can see it.
Yeah, wait for the late stream to kick in. I need a second opinion.
We used to have a woman that was like one of these kind of activist people here called Based Amy.
Yeah, that was.
She used to, does anyone remember Based Amy, English chaps? Do you remember her? She popped the Trump balloon. Do you remember that?
Oh, rings a bit of a bell.
Really good at falling over. She was really good. She would always fall over. Like she.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, that was. Well, he got hit in the face once, and then he got slightly bashed over. That seems
absolute gammon, drunk.
A little bit dramatic,
Insurance claim.
Insurance claim.
But hey, like head injuries are no joke. That's why I got myself checked out after I got beaten up on Southport.
Yeah, wait. I want to ask you about that. They just started beating you up, and when you said like I'm on side, they just didn't care.
Oh yeah, no, they absolutely didn't care at all. They were just like journalist, and like slap him. So they did. And now I've got a new tooth for my trouble. So.
Did it feel like that moment where the guys are yelling, "I'm on your side," and the BLM people throw the brick through the window? Did it feel like that?
Yeah, I suppose it kind of did a little bit, But hey, it's like, I mean, I understand why they would feel complete animosity towards journalists, because so much of the mainstream media does lie. I mean, they lied about people getting bussed in. It was a mix of, people from Southport itself and from the surround.
It's like every dog shit conspiracy theory. Fuck. If I was going to debate this whole fucking topic, I need to do reading, because it's like every bullshit conspiracy theory, like all rolled into one stupid fucking thing. But I don't know anything about fucking British politics, so I'm just working on my J6 notes.
Nuance that gets lost by a lot of the mainstream media when they do just look for clickbait headlines. And like for example, I saw some of the locals who were then saying it to the rioters, like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you burning things down? Like, this is our home." And and all of this stuff just got completely lost in it. So
yeah.
Just so you know,
okay.
like that summary you gave was the same as like every mainstream article I've read on these riots. But yeah.
Yeah, well, it certainly wasn't by Tuesday. Yeah, now they can push it under the rug,
It's the cops who are telling the media that they're busted in. But yeah.
I'm going to start winding the
busted.
stream down a little bit. So, Jack, Callum, Lonerbox, I'm going to get you guys to just kind of tell people where they can find you.
Good evening, and
hello, and follow your work. I'll start with Callum, since you were one of the first people here. Where can people follow you and find what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so I run a YouTube channel called Britannica. I'm sorry about my screen, it froze because the phone died. But if you'd like travel vlogs, especially in weird and interesting places, go over to Britannica and you'll find those. Probably the most interesting ones are the Afghanistan trip in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan, and the Zimbabwe one, which I just did, seeing the ruins of Rhodesia. And if you'd like to become a multi-millionaire or billionaire, only in Zimbabwe dollars, if you subscribe on Subscribestar, I will send you several million, if not billion, Zimbabwean dollars in the post. So there we are.
Britannica. I'm just going to see if I can bring it up here on the stream so people can see. All right, sorry, this is going to be janky, but will show you the channel, everyone. And I believe you said, are you able to spoil your next location that you're going to? This is the channel, everybody.
Guess so. So I got invited by Professor Edward Dutton to go to Finland and see the Finns. Because he's been living there. He's got a Finnish wife, he's got Finnish kids, all that. Or half Finnish. And one of the funny things is the Swedes and the Finns in Finland couldn't be more different. Because the Swedes are Europeans and the Finns are not Europeans. They come from the steppe, the same place as the Mongols. So they just have all these weird quirks, like their language is massively different. And also they just can't handle alcohol because they don't have that 2,000-year history of drinking beer. So I'm going to go see how weird the Finns are, I suppose. Why not?
I've been there.
Hang out with Edward
It's a strange place. They really like their saunas. Love their saunas.
Did you do the get in the sauna and then dip in the ice thing?
No. I have a very strange Finland story. I'll share it one day on stream, but not today. Jack, I think you know it.
Yeah, I think you did, yeah.
That one is deep in the vault until... Yeah. Anyway, Callum, thank you so much. Everyone go check out Britannica. The travel vlogs look lovely. I'm going to watch some of these. And next, Jack Hadfield. My dear friend for many years. Where can people find you?
True. You can find me at Jack Hadders on X. All of my other social medias are on my website, which is jackhadfield.co.uk. Just diverts my link tree, but it's nice and easy to have a fancy domain. I write primarily and report for The Publica. So they are at The Publica now on X, and they are thepublica.com. So it's public with an A, thepublica.com. So that's who I work for. And yeah, most of my posting goes on my X page. So yeah, Jack Hadders on X, and that's where you can find me.
Yeah, just put it up on the screen. Jack Hadders, he does good work, and he's going to be doing more reports on these riots for sure. So
with my new tooth.
with your new tooth, yes. Do you still have the fundraiser up for that?
Yeah, I think I might be. Let me see if I can grab them.
I need to chip in a
your
bit for your tooth. Yeah.
You've gone.
Yeah, no, it was this tooth here. It was chipped off diagonally in the attack. So pretty painful. I still have some pretty mad mouth ulcers right now that I'm making sure to rinse with salt water and get sorted out as much. But I think I got off pretty lightly, to be honest.
Oh dear.
All right.
Attacked by Barry Stanton.
Yeah.
Fucking journalist, gotta go.
Literally. Hey, I've got a jab in my Twitter bio for a reason. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And Lonerbox, who are you? What do you do? Where can people find you?
Yeah, hey, I'm Lonerbox. I'm a YouTuber. You can find me on YouTube. My channel's called Lonerbox. I love Law and Order, and I hate watching thumb-faced, coked-up loser fucks trying to incite riots from my country in a 5-star hotel in Cyprus like some white Haj Amin al-Husseini wannabe. But anyway, it's nice meeting you guys. I'm glad we can have these discussions, even if we disagree on many such things. Take care.
All right. If you would like to follow this shit lib, you can find his X account there, Loaderbox. All right. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye. And how do I don't know how to kick you. You're going to have to leave on your own.
We'll leave
Get out the
politely.
door.
Bye.
There we go.
Bye.
Like you don't, you know where the
Wait,
door
why
is.
did Sean leave? I told Sean to stay.
Loner Box. Box Loner, is that him? Box Loner. So what's happening?
Wait.
Or Boomer.
Wait, I didn't.
Boomer
I added
Lauren.
him. Sir, return. Hello. This is not what I intended. Okay, give him 1 minute. Everyone go harass him on X.
So Destiny, have you ever been to our lovely island over here? You ever been to the UK?
I've been to a couple of the Bongo lands, but never Ireland before.
What did you think? Did you have a nice time? Did you have a crumpet and some tea?
It was okay.
Yeah.
Despite the Brits being
Fix my audio.
Jesus.
It's fixed.
Okay, you're really
Yeah.
loud now because I've got you like blasted on here. Okay.
I figured it out.
Whatever you
How?
figure it out like 20% less, okay?
No,
I
she's got to adjust it.
I've adjusted it, but yeah, turn your gain down a bit because I think you also turned that up when Steven was telling you how to fix your audio, and it's still. I've turned it down on my end. Wait.
All right, I turn it down as I'm
That's
talking.
better.
Yeah.
Yes. You're
Yeah,
doing the
my
thing.
recording software records at a very low input, and apparently that changes it on all platforms, and I can't fix anything unless I fix my recording software.
Perfect. Wonderful. So, all right, I want to start with I've got a interesting. Actually, I probably should have read this email before Callum and Jack left. Okay, whatever. Stephen, what level of immigration would you say is too much? What level of immigration and like culture disappearing from the UK would you say people can start to riot at? Is it none? Is it?
It's
like,
a
they- their
nonsense
country-
question. If you want to design an immigration policy, then you have to start with the things that are important to you. Then you have to figure out which of these things are worth protecting and what they're worth sacrificing things for. Then you have to figure out how to measure these things. And then you have to figure out how to measure like an immigrant's impact on these things and then how to test for it. You don't have to have exact numbers for all of this, but you should have something in mind for all of this. If you've never thought about any of these questions, you're probably just racist. That's what I would say.
So when
They should
Sean,
about that
go ahead, Lucy.
years ago. They should have thought about that years ago over here because we're small. We're a small little island. We're a small island. So I don't know who crunched the numbers, but it's clearly unmanageable and someone should have thought about that. No? Yes?
I don't live in the UK. I don't protest immigration, so
What
I don't know.
about
Maybe
all
it's
of
fine.
the policies? What about all of the policies that Sean presented, saying this is what they do in Denmark? You know, they have these cultural. Do you believe cultural integration and assimilation is racist when people demand that?
It can be. It also couldn't be. It depends on what people mean when they say cultural and racial assimilation. It depends on what you mean by that.
No, I mean, I don't think they're assimilating them racially, but culturally, yeah. They educate their kids in, like Denmark's or whatever Denmarkian, I don't know what they call it, citizenship. If you're a refugee, you don't get just to hang around in the country. They put you in a third party country. One of the ones that they use, ironically, is Rwanda as a third party country. Like, they have a bunch of policies to limit people coming to their country and to screen them. Would you be against that?
You've said nothing that's even worth responding to there. You haven't given me any. You said they screen people coming into their country. Well, obviously, I'm in favor of that. And then some vague allusion to culture. Like, give me something like quantifiable, or give me something you can speak about, like with some specificity. Yeah.
So if you're foreign born, they'll put you in classes until like as young as age 5 to educate you in how Denmark society works.
What is that Denmark
So that way
society?
you
They
don't
teach you how to
have to-
drive, or they teach you like how to read
The values of the society.
What are the values? You're not saying anything.
mean,
You're
like,
not saying anything. Do you understand? Do you acknowledge you're not saying anything? Do you understand that? That you're not saying anything?
They call them cultural education class. Like,
okay.
they're trying to teach them how to integrate into the culture that is there, rather than just try to force their home culture or go multicultural in their nation.
I can't. There's nothing to respond to. I don't know. I don't even know if you know what that means.
I mean,
what is it? What is Danish culture?
Right
what does that mean? No, you're speaking in vague nothingness. You're not saying anything of value. What does it mean to say that you're integrating somebody into a culture? What does it mean to say that you don't bring like the cultural values from your place
Denmark
with you?
has a culture?
I'm asking you. You're making the point. I'm just asking you what that means.
I think Denmark has a culture.
What is Danish culture? What does that mean?
Is a culmination of social behaviors. As simple as how you shake your hand.
Okay, so is that something that they should teach? Then you have to shake a hand a certain way, or?
Well, I can't even get a handshake from someone like Ali Dawa because I'm a woman. But it's the language. It's also shared history. Like there are
shared history is not something like you know the history, or like you have the ethnic history. What does shared history mean?
So I use an example of Croatians and Serbs often when I talk about this, because people will be like, "Oh, this is just a race thing," and I'm like, Croatians and Serbs look.
Why do we have to talk? We don't have to talk about Croatians and Serbs. We can just talk about Danish people. What does it mean for shared history?
They have a shared history. Their families have a history. They've got wars that have gone on.
Okay, it's just racism. We can just be racist. I think racism is based, okay? I'm 35. I spend a lot of time on the internet. Let's just hate brown people. I think that's fucking awesome, okay?
Both of these groups are white that I'm talking about.
Okay, we can hate white people too, okay? I'm BLM. We hate white people as well. I'm progressive. We hate all the...
What is racist? Explain to me like I'm 5. What is racist about me saying that Serbians and Croatians have shared histories that are different?
The actual answer I'll do this one time, for anybody that's listening, okay? If you constantly allude to trying to protect a culture or protect a society from the dangers of immigrants, but you can never name a particular or specific thing, then everybody that's looking at you is going to think, well, if they don't really know what they're trying to protect, they don't have any way to protect it, they have no way to measure to protect it, and they can't speak to anything with specificity. Congratulations, language is one thing, but that's the first time you brought it up. So I'm glad I finally pushed you on one concrete thing.
Did I not say it's the way you shake your hand? It's language. It's shared history. You just ignored that bit.
I'm sorry, are we talking about sign language now? Is that what shaking your hand is? Shaking your hand is not language.
These were three different examples.
Okay, I didn't hear you say language earlier. But my explanation was that, okay, I didn't hear that. Okay. The explanation is that if you can't name particular specific things that you're trying to protect about a particular culture, but you're just scared of, and then you always use the phrase mass migration, it kind of sounds like you just don't want like certain types of immigrants coming to your country.
The way that the host country would treat women would be an example as compared to what the migrants would do. Like in their normal country, or their original country. Like that's not something that's worth protecting, or
like how? Like let's use the U.S. as an example. Like what would be?
They did the no square dance, didn't they? They had to do the no square dance. Do you remember that?
No, but I have another.
Well, in the United States, how do we treat women? Like what would be a value for how we treat women in the U.S. You think like everybody that comes to this country should be on the same page about?
That women full legal right.
That what?
That women have full legal rights.
We get to drive cars.
Okay, if I were to look at which ethnic group in the United States is the most in favor of removing the right to vote from women, what do you think that ethnic group would be?
Terminally online.
White people. Okay, so should I design my immigration policy then around...
Maybe white people, though? I don't know. That seems to play really well for a different demographic.
Who? Muslims? You can just say it. I don't know why you guys are pussies.
Fresh and Fit's audience, perhaps.
Black males.
If I were to go to a repeal the 19th or whatever rally, you think I'm going to see it's going to be black people or Hispanic people or Muslim people or...
Have you seen the Fresh and Fit live events? Also, if you think of the terminally online, they tend to be, or repeal the 19th people, they tend to be highly Hispanic as well. There's, just saying.
But I have another question about Denmarkian immigration policy. So one of the things that they do for asylum seekers is they'll confiscate portions of their property to pay for the services that they're going to receive. Would you be in favor of that?
Probably not. That sounds horrible.
But they're like desperate and need to their country for like safety or whatever excuse they're using.
Hold on. First of all, can you go into Discord and either turn on push to talk or lower the volume sensitivity, because your mic is cutting off sometimes, but I think it's because it's not picking it up enough.
Lower the sensitivity? I don't know if you want me to mess with these settings.
When on Discord for the voice activation, your mic keeps getting cut off, and I think it's because your voice is dropping below a certain threshold.
Oh, here's a good one. We've actually had a serial pooping problem in Canada lately with new immigrants pooping on the beaches.
That's great. That's awesome. Okay.
That's actually a cultural thing people super care about.
That's great. And okay.
What about?
Hold on, no, wait, one thing at a time. Instead of gish galloping all the retarded fucking racist shit you guys talk about in your Telegram groups, please, holy shit, one thing at a time. Okay,
Is it
Sean,
racist to say
when
that
you
India
talk
has
about
a
Sean,
sanitation
when you
in
talk about
public?
asylum seeking, in your mind, what should a refugee or asylum policy be for? Like in the ideal like construction of it, what should that be for?
You should go to the next country that is closest to you. You don't get to pick your first choice.
What is the process of that? Why does asylum seeking exist? Like, what's the point of that?
If you're supposed to be fleeing oppression or persecution of some kind, or your place is too dangerous for yourself, whether it be for political reasons, national security,
cool.
natural
Yes, yeah, okay, yeah,
disasters.
broadly okay, yeah, cool, okay, yeah, I agree, yes. So if we are to understand that people that are seeking asylum are people that are fleeing some fucked situation in a home country, I don't know why I would expect my country, if you're doing that, this is basically like a charitable work. You're taking an asylum seeker, not because they're a good worker, not because they'd even benefit your country, but because you feel like you have some world obligation to help people from countries that are, suffering some kind of horrific event. So in that case, would I want to take things from people that are coming to my country as somebody who is seeking asylum? Probably not. That doesn't feel like a very good thing to do. It feels like taking a guy in off the street who's homeless and being like, hey, listen, I'm going to help you and feed you and stuff, but like, those are some nice shoes. I don't know where you got them, but you're going to have to give them to me. I'm going to help you. Like, that just doesn't seem like I would do that.
When you have the issue of people trying to defraud the immigration system by fraudulently claiming asylum, this is a good way to sort on whether or not people are actually in desperate straits and need to get into your country, or they're just economic migrants using another system.
Okay, but what you just said makes it sound like... Wait, hold on. So you said that this would, first of all, if people are trying to defraud the immigration system, everyone in here, well, I know you guys do, but I would agree as well, that's bad. You shouldn't try to defraud the immigration system, okay? Defraud is built into the word. You shouldn't ever be lying, okay? If we're trying to prevent people from coming in, and we're putting some like economic filter on it, that has nothing to do with being a refugee. A wealthy person in a country could still be targeted by, we could imagine a communist or fascist takeover in a country where they start to kill all of a certain ethnic or religious group. It doesn't matter if you're wealthy, middle class, or poor, you might still have to flee from that country, right? So why would I want to take things from the wealthy or middle class people fleeing?
Because there's a cost associated with caring for these people. Like, money doesn't come out of nowhere. So yeah, you have to offset the cost in some way.
Okay, but then in that case, you're not really doing anything in terms of like
it doubles as a secondary screening mechanism for these people, because if these people are just choosing to be economic migrants but under a fraudulent thing, they'll go to another nation that doesn't have that restriction, which is why they have it in Denmark.
Okay, wait. First of all, I don't know how this would... So you're talking about taking things from people as a secondary screening mechanism? One, I don't understand that. And two, I understand that there's a
secondary screening mechanism.
Two, I understand that there'd be a cost associated with it, but we don't do refugees or asylum seeking. That international, that concept, that's not for bolstering your economy. This is a thing this is like a charitable contribution to the world. When you take in refugees, you're doing a good thing or a nice thing. You're not trying to offset the cost. That's the point of that. Right?
Yeah,
or no?
I'm aware of that.
Okay, yeah. So then...
At the same time, you have limited resources. There's plenty of people around the world that are in dire straits, and you have to have some way of screening them out, because you end up in a horrible situation in the United States where if you're an actual legitimate asylum seeker, you have all these different various people that are just economic migrants that pass through 6 countries in order to get here that are clogging up the system. So if you're actually in need of help, you're totally screwed over. You're totally blanketed by all these other economic migrants. So yeah, having some screening system implemented, I think, makes sense. Another policy that makes sense.
Wait. When you say screening issue for economic migrants,
having a deterrent for this kind of fraud. Like, you know what? If you're coming in with a bunch of valuable property, then you got to turn some of that over to pay the cost of you being maintained.
But wouldn't the people wouldn't the people who are economic migrants coming over to work come with nothing? Aren't you just screening out all the people that would be genuine refugees? Like, you're just taking or a lot of them that could be, like, if you're just taking poor people that want to work, those are economic migrants. They're not going to have anything for you to take on this secondary.
Like, I mean, people tend to have certain things that they would take, like
what?
Again, like these people that are these They take jewelry or a bunch of different things from these migrants.
So if people are migrating here, okay, if you get two asylum seekers that are married, you're taking their wedding rings, you're taking their grandma's jewelry, like what? Or are you saying if they come like decked out with like $50,000 worth of bling?
I don't think it goes specifically to their wedding rings, and I wouldn't be in favor of that. But yeah, if you have this property and you're going to depend on the taxpayer and you're asking for entry into their country to live off their system, then you should contribute whatever you can. Like, you want these people to have buy-in to the system.
Okay, but then that's fine. But then in that case, I feel like we're talking kind of asylum seeking, but this doesn't feel more like a country helping with refugees. It looks like a country trying to look for a particular type of worker.
It's not looking for a specific kind of worker. It's you're trying to deter people who are just economic migrants from coming into your country. This is a mechanism that they have developed in Denmark in order to do so.
Okay.
Like, if somebody really needs to get into Denmark, it should be no problem for them to turn over whatever. But what ultimately ends up happening is a lot of these people refuse to do so because they're going to look for another country with much softer immigration laws and take advantage of their system.
Sure. Let me understand what you're saying. So you're saying that in Denmark, if you go to Denmark, they run a net wealth analysis on you, and if you're worth over a certain amount,
net wealth analysis.
Well, how do they take
like you said confiscation of certain property?
Okay. Do you understand that when you speak, you say nothing? Like you said the confiscation of specific property. I'm trying to figure out what property.
An example that I give was jewelry if they're coming.
And then I asked you about like wedding rings or like family heirlooms, and you said no. So I'm asking you, like, what do they do? So that's all they do, is they just look for jewelry, like earrings or what?
Or other valuable property that they might have.
Like what? Like, can you link me this Danish? What do I have to look for to find this Danish policy? For what is this, for asylum seeking or?
All right, I'll pull it up for you.
Most of them that come here don't even have a passport. They chuck it in the sea. Some of them.
Yeah, so I would also not let anybody in who destroys their documents.
I literally interviewed people in person in Morocco who were telling me they did that and are doing that. In Spain as well, in France. They were told by every trafficker to throw their papers in the sea because then they can't be deported.
Yeah. So I don't think they have loads of jewelry, is what I'm saying. I don't think they're rocking up like Mr. T on the boats. Do you know what I mean? I think the iPhone would be the most expensive thing they have, and they won't want to take that.
Yep. So they seize valuables valued more than 10,000 kroner. Again, that's why I gave jewelry as an example, which is 1,000 euros. I'll link an article when they passed the policy back in 2016 from the BBC, everybody's favorite state-run news agency.
Whoa. Oh, yeah.
Okay. You have me. Okay, so there's a 2016 article. I see this. So it says wedding rings will be exempt. Raise the amount refugees will be allowed to keep from 3,000 kroner to 10,000 following objections. Okay. I have this. Okay, so you showed me this. I don't know if there's something more current, but I'm trying to find this. So this is saying here that this policy hasn't been used a single time. 3 years after Denmark's infamous jewelry law hits world headlines, not a single piece has been confiscated. Is this something they actually do or use? Or
I'm saying, would you be in favor of this policy?
Well, I already said principally no. I don't know why I would want to rob people that are trying to seek asylum in my.
I think it works as a good deterrent.
Why do you think it works as a good deterrent?
Because if you have assets that you're trying to bring in and you're just an economic migrant, you would go to a different European country.
What do you think an economic migrant is? When you say economic migrant, what does that mean to you?
That you're just coming there to work and you're defrauding either the refugee or asylum system.
Okay, if you're an economic migrant, aren't the vast majority of economic migrants poor? Isn't that why they're moving to work?
I mean, that doesn't mean they have nothing.
No, but generally they don't come. They're not coming with like thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
Actually, okay, wait. Okay, since I've been on the ground and I've actually gone into these camps and spoken to these people, met a lot of them, literally been in the bushes.
I actually just had 100 economic migrants message me, Lauren, and they said that the people that talked to you were lying. So I don't know who to believe now.
Okay.
Like, yeah,
well,
my bad.
That's great.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I mean, you assume like poor is like not a dollar to your name. Like a bunch of these
I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill both of you.
No, I would assume that economic migrants are people that generally aren't carrying around thousands of dollars of cash with them. That's what I would assume. Yes.
I'm going to fight you guys in real life. Will not let me finish my story.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
You have to have money to get on these boats. It's like 5,000 euros in some cases to get on these boats over from Morocco to go to Spain. It's thousands of dollars to get on these. It's people who actually have money that are able to take these trips, not people who are dirt poor. So when we talk about economic migrants, like one guy I spoke to who was making his way from Turkey into Camp Moria in Greece, which has now been burned down, was telling me he was a barber in Turkey for 5 years, had a pretty good time, but then he was told by a trafficker who, by the way, go out and find people and recruit them. Hey, you could have a better life in X country or Y.
Hold on,
country.
am I making this up? I thought I watched,
you.
and I could be wrong. You can tell me. You want to maybe. There was some blonde chick that did a documentary on illegal immigrating into the United States from Mexico, and I thought, wasn't she interviewing people that said things like people sell everything in order to be able to afford the trips up here to the United States? Do you remember this? What was it called?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So do you think the average person is like a decently wealthy middle class person? Why would they want to illegally immigrate to another country if they've got like enough money to float like a few $1,000?
Because they are being promised. Like I spoke to people in Morocco who were telling me, and by the way, the Mexican immigration and the European immigration is different. It's a different situation. There are similarities, but they are different. I had people showing me videos saying, I'm going to become a famous soccer player in the UK. They're a little delusional about what
Do you think
their
that's
lives are
the
going to be like
average?
when they
Do
get
you think
to
the
Europe.
average person thinks they're going to be
way more common than people want to admit?
Nothing.
That
We're not
people
saying
think
anything.
they're going to be wealthy.
Way more common. If there were 10 of them, that would be more common than I would think. But
No,
are you saying like 20% of people that are going to be footballers?
I'm talking the majority of these people believe they are going to be wealthier and live significantly better lives than the lives they get when they come to Europe. The vast majority. Maybe not everyone thinks they're going to be a professional footballer, but all of them think they're going to get a lot more money than they eventually do. No one thinks they're going to be living under bridges in Paris like what usually ends up. No one. Not one person living under a bridge in Paris told me this is what I expected. But that's what happens to them. And then they end up committing crime.
Why don't they just go home then?
What else can they do?
They can always go back, right?
They threw their passports out. You can watch my movie on it. They've thrown their passports out. They literally can't even get deported if they wanted to. They
can't get another copy of their it's over. There's no embassies anymore. They burn them all down. There's no way to get back into. They're paperless, stateless people now.
They can't go back. They don't have the money to go back. They've already illegally immigrated. There's a lot of.
Wait, I thought you said that these people were like decently wealthy. Now they don't have any money, or they just happen to have only.
They are wealthier than the dirt poor people that can't afford to make these trips for sure, but they're not. We're not talking about super wealthy people that are coming over. We're talking about people that have small businesses. We're talking about people that have a home but sold it so they could take the trip, thinking they're going to have a better life.
You think that people that have small businesses represent a sizable portion of people coming illegally who are throwing away their passport? I don't think that's true. I don't
believe
think
that.
True. Okay.
Do you see a lot of women and children? It's not. It's men who are like, I'm going to give up my life and I'm going to see if I can make a new.
Yeah, it's men who are 18 to 22, not small business owners. Okay, with like net worths and assets.
Jobs, they have houses. They have money. They have money to pay the 5,000 euros for these trips.
But isn't that usually because they're like selling everything they have?
Sure, in some cases. Not in all of them. There are people who have a lot of money that are able to get these trips much higher end.
You keep saying rent. I don't think if the people you're talking about sound like a 1%. Like my guess would be, can we look at it? My guess would be the vast majority of people. When I say vast majority, I mean 80% of like people that are migrating illegally by boat or whatever the fuck else are probably like pretty poor people.
These are not the poorest in their community. The poorest cannot afford to.
I'm not saying, I didn't say the poorest. Maybe they're the second tier poorest, but they're sure as fuck not middle class or wealthy.
I mean, they might be middle class in their country.
In their countries. Yes.
Okay, can we hook me up with some numbers on this? I didn't see anything about the Danish like massively enforcing this jewelry policy. So what are we looking at when we're trying to say that like?
I was asking if you're in favor of this policy.
I said no because when I think of refugees or asylum stuff, that's generally like that's like a charity that you do to the world. It's not a thing that you're doing for economic or fiscal reasons. So that's why I wouldn't assume that you would like charge people. And I could even think of like a number of reasons why you wouldn't want to do that. Like I wouldn't want to have somebody who's an asylum seeker come to my country and now I'm like fucking their life over even more, which means they're less likely to be able to contribute here or work or do anything else because now I've made them even poorer. Like that just seems like why would you ever want to do that? It just seems so weird.
Well, a lot of them aren't actually asylum seekers. They're abusing the system.
Why would you ask me? What would my ideal regulation look like for somebody abusing the system? My ideal regulation would be they don't abuse the system. I mean, like,
but you set up a system with as many safeguards to prevent abuse of the system as possible.
But that doesn't sound like it would safeguard it. If somebody's wealthy enough to be carrying that much money, they would just leave the money in the bank at home. Or if you guys are talking about remittances, they would just leave the money with family at home and they would just travel with nothing. How are you going to be able to subpoena a person's like Rwandan bank account if they're trying to legally immigrate to your country?
Well, first of all, Denmark has it. Rwanda might not be the best example because they do have a relationship with them since they use them as a third-party country for screening refugees. But
that was a really good dodge. It didn't answer my question at all. But I'm just saying, if somebody illegally immigrates to a country, and they wouldn't know anyway, because you guys are saying they tossed their papers, so how would they even know?
Well, yeah, I think you shouldn't admit somebody if they destroy their passport before they come
That's
into your
a
country.
great point. That is a great
That's a sensible policy that I would definitely enforce in the United States.
That's true.
there's
1
no
trillion
way
%. In the United States, do we take people with no passports? Are you accepted into the?
People destroy their passports at the border
That's
and
not what
they turn
I'm
themselves
asking.
in for asylum.
I'm asking, do we accept people in the United States with no paperwork and no passports?
If they claim asylum, we do. Yeah, we process them.
When you say we process them, is part of the processing meaning if you can't verify the person, then they get tossed?
There's plenty of people. No, they get paroled.
Do you see how you're
into
not
the
answering
country.
any question? Hold on. Do you do this intentionally when you
Yes,
argue?
we will
No, wait.
admit
Every single question I ask, you give a weasel answer. I ask you
will
very
admit
specific questions on
someone-
policy, and it's like, well, there have been people who do this. Well, they do this. Well, some people do
at
this.
the border. Yes, we will admit people at the border who leave their documents behind when they claim asylum specifically.
As a matter of policy, not admit them for processing. I'm asking, as a matter of policy in the United States of America, will we allow people to live here after being processed with no paperwork and no way to verify who they are? That's a policy in the United States.
We give them paperwork like when they get here, but yes, if you destroy your passport, there's a reason why they do that because it makes them harder to deport. Like
We give them identities. We give them.
Well, we take information that they give us as their identity.
With no verification or anything, they just give a name and then we admit.
We attempt to verify, but with as many people, it is very difficult to do so.
And
but
if we're unable to verify, we allow them to stay in the country?
Well, first of all, enforcement. Like, I'm sure eventually people can theoretically get deported, but yeah, like they stay in the
So the
country.
answer is no. You're just lying. You're wrong. We don't let people stay in the United States who come here with no paperwork if we can't verify an identity. I don't know why you're dying on this hill. Just say, no, we don't do that. There might be ways people can cheat, lie, or defraud the system, but as a matter of policy, I would be surprised to find out that the United States of America, it's as simple as setting a fire to your passport and then walking up claiming asylum, and now you got a free ticket to the United States. That would be crazy if that was the actual policy of the United States of America.
You still have to go through the regular asylum process, but yeah, you can get admitted. That's why we find all these destroyed passports before we get to the border.
You keep saying
or
get
on the other side of
admitted.
the border.
Yes, you can come and go through the process.
You come for processing, like yes, you can come into the country.
But if they
you can
can't
get
verify
into the
your
country.
identity and you don't have a passport, you're going to get tossed.
Yep, these people will present a different name. This is usually how criminal types get their way into the country. And yes, you can get through the system like that. If we find that you're defrauding the system under law, yes, you will be deported. But guess what? If you enter the country illegally at the border, under the law, it says you should be deported anyway. So there's like on paper what it says you should, what it says should happen, but then there's what actually happens, and a bunch of these people end up in this country. So yes.
Wait. Okay, so firstly, you just said that they have to lie and give fake identities.
True, factual.
Yeah. So number one, you said they had to lie and give fake identities, which satisfies my argument. Then they don't let people in without identities that aren't verified and without a passport. That's why they have to fake them. So you're wrong there. Number one. Number two, you're saying that wait. The law is to deport illegals, and we don't do that. What do you mean? What are you speaking about there?
Yeah, like you're supposed to deport people when they enter at the border, and we let a bunch of these people in.
What do you mean you're supposed to deport them at the border, but we let them in? What are you referring to more specifically?
And these cases take years. They cost thousands in tax dollars. More than that, these people get housed. They get money. It's I spoke to people.
That's
when I was
great.
doing
Don't
my
care.
bill
Hold on. Wait.
where
What
they
is
were
the?
saying,
We're supposed.
"They'll
Who are we
just go
supposed to
because
deport?
They know they won't be deported.
Who
for
are we
years and they'll
supposed to
get live there
deport?
and-
Yes, and thank God Donald Trump saved them by blocking the legislation in the Congress that would have actually
Okay, so you
helped
agree
this.
we need better legislation?
Why are you that's my position. Your position is a ban on mass migration, which is nonsense, okay? Yeah, I do think that there should be
What
better
is a
controls at
ban
the
on
border.
mass migration?
I'm asking Sean, what is it when you say that we are supposed to deport people legally but we don't? What are you talking about there? What are you referring to there?
Do you know how Obama got called the deporter in chief? It's because of these rapid deportations of people who showed up at the border. This is policy under law for people who are admitted. You can get them out even quicker without putting them through the through the lengthy legal system. So that is what we used to get done. That's why Obama got all those deportations under his belt. Most of them were basically immediate ejections. So yes, this is what you can do under law. This is what you're supposed to do under law. But instead, we let these people go through the asylum system because they're fraudulently claiming asylum. And we know they're fraudulently claiming asylum because they passed through 6 countries in order to get here.
If we are letting people in that are claiming asylum, but we don't want to be, or we do want to be, why would the Democrats try to pass legislation in the House to change this? Why was it blocked by Republicans?
Because Biden denied this issue even existed for 3+ years.
That had nothing to do with what I just said. How did that even? Okay, I'll let you do this.
That's why they wanted to pass it. I'll explain it. Then it became really politically inconvenient for them, so they wanted to pass something into law to have a W on their side. So yeah, the reason they wanted to pass legislation was political expedience.
All right, you two. This was a stream on the UK riots, so I'm gonna girl boss, gaslight, and gatekeep, and kick the men in 2 minutes here. You both have one more statement.
Sure. Yeah. Democrats tried to pass. Biden tried a number of things to slow down the asylum process at the border. The idea that we allow people in who are illegal, that we know they're illegal, it's not true. It's just, and that you can tell by the way there's like a weasel answer to every single question I ask. You don't let people in with no paperwork. And when the answer is, well, if they're fraudulent and they fake it, well, then obviously, of course, we do allow people to come to ports of entry and claim asylum, which I think is a huge fucking problem right now. But when Democrats tried to pass legislation in Congress that was authored by originally a Republican in the Senate, Langford, Trump shot it down. Literally, Trump on his own told Republicans, don't vote for this. I need to keep the border open for election issues, which is insane. So the idea that somehow Democrats still get blamed for this when it is Republicans that shot down legislation under the orders of a guy who's not even in office right now, okay, Donald Trump, it's ridiculous that Democrats still get the blame for that. Now that's on Republicans. They get the blame for that until the election season, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice talking point, but Joe Biden under the campaign said he wanted these people to surge to the border. That's who we are. That's exactly what happened for 3+ years into his administration until it became politically expedient for him to say, oh, crap, I guess I got to pretend to do something related to the border. So if this was the non-existent issue for 3+ years, then he should have just let things go as they were going. But instead, he has to blame Trump because they didn't want to pass some cheap win that wouldn't resolve the issue, that doesn't penalize people for destroying their documents, that doesn't reinstitute Remain in Mexico, and wouldn't actually solve the root of the problem, which is a bunch of economic migrants passing through a bunch of different countries on their way to the United States to abuse our asylum system. So no, you don't pass a law that's not really going to address the heart of the issue in order to give the guy who allowed the issue to spin out of control a cheap political win.
All right. Very good, guys. Generic YouTuber also super chatted. There is a huge difference between what policy is on paper and what is practiced by courts and customs agents due to orders from heads of bureaucracy. That is true. All right. I appreciate you both coming on here. This was a bit chaotic. It's my first stream in a long time, so I just appreciate, as Sean said, coming to my piano recital. Stephen, I'm sure people know where to find you, but if you had any, last words, YouTube in a video game, you would like to say where people can follow you, go right ahead, and then I'll let Sean go.
YouTube.com/Destiny. Yeah. Also, Biden is on track to deport more people than Trump did. So yeah, thanks a lot. And he can't use Title 42 to do it. So.
Inshallah. All right, go ahead, Sean.
You can find me on youtube.com/actualjusticewarrior and take a look at the net immigration numbers. That was a big topic earlier on. So deport more raw number out of the millions more people that have come into the country under Biden because he asked them to.
Wait,
so
illegal or illegal immigration? Why are we conflating the two? Okay.
Asylum fraud is not legal.
You said You said net immigration numbers.
Yeah, it's hella inflated by these people that come into the country under the asylum system.
Why would we
leave my call?
Okay. Holy fucking AIDS. Asylum is required by international law, correct? Arguably it is, but I don't think people know exactly what it has to look like. I don't think anybody's tested it that much before. But it might even be part of international law too, or I'm sorry, domestic law too, because people were saying they were going to challenge Trump and Biden, I think, in the courts, depending on what they do. So, but I don't know if we know the answer to that. I actually think we should have a really secure border. I don't like that there are so many ways to get into this country illegally. I think the asylum process is really broken. And actually, I even agree that there should be core cultural values related to being American that I think you should have to have in common with us if you're going to immigrate here. I'm not necessarily opposed to having some kind of English proficiency test or whatever. I'm not opposed to having to show some sort of cultural aptitude or whatever to move here. I'm not actually opposed to that. But I can get really far into the weeds on a lot of those different things. What types of civics should you be aware of? What types of values should you broadly have? How would we measure these coming into I could talk about all these. But when somebody's I don't know if I can't tell if it's just the racist people in the audience that don't want to hear it, or if anybody can perceive it or not. But when I'm asking questions, okay, because I know there's a lot of retards out there for the 75 IQ people. I ask a question. I'm like, what kind of cultural values are you trying to protect? And then I see people in chat do you not think they have a culture? Yeah, they do. When you say cultural values, you don't know any Danish people. I've probably been into Copenhagen and the Daneland, okay, more than any of these have. So when you say Danish cultural values, what are you talking about? Or when you say British cultural values, what are we talking about? Or American cultural values, what are we talking about? What would you test on? Well, you don't have any answers to any of these questions. And all you do is harp on mass migration over and over and over and over and over again. I don't know what I don't know what I'm dealing with. I don't know what I'm supposed to even say. What is the answer? I don't even know what the problem is, because the only solution people have given are stop mass migration and deport mass migrants. I don't know what that means. Okay, Jesus. Haven't thought about this much, but what would be the problem with requiring documentation/passport when you arrive, or else you get rejected? I mean, if you're trying to come through a traditional manner, then that would make sense. The problem is, if you're coming here through if you're an asylum seeker or a refugee, and if you're truly trying to escape, a genocide or some shit like that, the idea that we would rob you at the border of your jewelry or kick people off for not having enough documentation, that's not the whole point of the asylum seeking process. The idea that people are trying to shore up fiscal losses by taking jewelry from people that are genuinely seeking asylum, and that's unhinged. That's just not what refugeedom or asylum seeking should be for. If people are coming to immigrate here to work and shit, then yeah, you should be a net contributor to the country. For Melina to apply for a green card and shit, I had to prove that I had the financial means to support her and that she wasn't going to come here and be a drag and all that shit. I think that's fine. I think that's an okay thing to prove. You wouldn't want a ton of people immigrating in just to eat your social services or whatever. I think that's totally fine. That makes sense. But for asylum seekers or refugee people, imagine we're, in the 40s. Oh shit, sorry, because the people that hear this the most probably don't even think the Holocaust happened. But for those few of you that are racist and think the Holocaust happened, I don't know how many of you are left, right? If somebody's coming to your country, say in the 40s, okay, trying to escape the Holocaust, am I looking at a Jew and I'm like, well, fuck, it's going to be a big drain to have you in my country. I think I've got to kick you out. That's just not what asylum seeking is for. It's just not an appropriate understanding of that process. Sorry, but asking a poor asylee who is probably escaping the imperial problems created by the United States to conform in any way is just as dumb and fascist adjacent. I don't know. Okay. I'm glad I still have at least one commie left in my audience. LOL, so Destiny is basically saying that we do actually do some of the things AGW is asking for as far as preventing people from being a drain on the system. One thing that I told you guys, this heuristic worked for me 8 years ago, and it still works today. Anybody that lumps is such an easy way to understand who you're dealing with. Anybody that speaks about refugees and asylum seekers, legal immigrants, and illegal immigrants as the same category of people are always just racist. That's it. Don't stress your brain trying to figure out more what they mean or what they say. They're always just racist. These three groups of people are completely different, and they should be treated completely different, right? The goals that we would have, and they are in the US code for how you deal with different classes of immigrants, right? People that want to immigrate to the country legally should be selected for. These are people that come to the United States, and you should pick and choose, what kind of immigrants do we want? What make this country a better place? Who do we want to share this country with the world? These are good things. Everybody should be asking this. Illegal immigrants should be prevented as much as possible from getting into the country. You need to have a strong border. You don't want people getting here you don't know anything about. You don't want people sneaking in for criminal matters. And just in general, it's good to have people documented. You want to have social security numbers. You want to be able to track people paying their taxes, and you want to be able to have information and records and everything. It's good. So you don't want illegal immigrants at all. The legal immigrants you come here, you want to select for. And then for these other special classes of people, you would treat them differently. If there's a humanitarian disaster, say tomorrow, Mexico has a volcano explode and half the country gets covered in lava and you've got people running to the border, seeking refugee for a little bit, right? You're not going to be well, come in here. I need to do a full background check to make sure that you're a high skilled worker. That's just not what that process is for. You wouldn't use that process for that. That doesn't make sense. It's inappropriate. And it doesn't make any sense it's just a bad application of it. And when people speak broadly of all these categories as being the same, asylum seekers, illegal immigrants, and legal immigrants, it makes me wonder, what the fuck are you even talking about? Nobody has an issue with people following the law. I'm sorry, but if you support Donald Trump, who's a 33-time fucking felon, and you're saying shit like that, you shut the fuck up and get the fuck out. Conservatives completely abandon you're no longer my goal right now for law and order is I want Democrats to focus more on the law and order thing. Conservatives have lost their claim on law and order. You can never claim it, not for at least 10 or 20 years. You've completely lost any high ground when it comes to law and order. You want a king with criminal immunity, and you've got a guy who's a fucking multi-win, championship fucking 34 felon holder. You have have no say or no claim anymore about what's legal or not legal, or anything related to law and order. So sorry. The people you spoke to were pretty wrong about UK immigration. To get any real visa status in the UK that isn't a temporary worker or school visa, you need to pass tests about British culture. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Yeah, I was going to talk about the origination of the stories and the fake news shit. I'm not prepared to discuss the entire British immigration system, but I do know that like it's always a really big red flag when you ask for links and people give you links to like Twitter accounts, and then like a blog by like a very, very far right immigration person. It's like, do we have like any it's not necessarily bad and it's not necessarily wrong, but it's a little sussy baka. Makes me wonder. But how do you deal with these people who speak like this without providing any facts or sources and refuse to engage? Well, you should though. You should be knowing the debate ahead of time. I didn't know that the conversation was going to get this extensive. So I don't give a fuck. But technically, I shouldn't probably have accepted this if I wasn't ready to come and fight on like every single point relating to immigration. More online about the Greek camp situation. The reason the camps got burned down was because the camps were unironically being made open-air prisons, unironically, unlike the Gaza claim shit. I don't know. She might have been, but I really don't know. I shouldn't be reading comments. I'm not actually sure what's true or not.